Welcome back, everyone, to Wasteland, an anime podcast. My name is Nathaniel Garofalo, and I am only but one of your hosts.
You got your boy, Dom Esclovon here, as always, ready to bring you the latest and greatest from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, definitely. We're back for episode 4.
Our episode 4, right? But
Yeah. Our episode 4 of the podcast. How you feeling? We made it through Phantom Blood, and now we're moving on to Battle Tendency. Now, you say thank God. Unpack that a bit. What does that mean?
What that means is, look, the original JoJo, the original recipe, he's cool and all right? He's good. He's a pure-hearted boy. He reminds me, I think I said this before, I'm not sure, this was a while ago, he reminds me a lot of Superman in that way.
Yeah.
You know? And I appreciate him for what he is. He's great, or for what he was, R.I.P. But look, I'm not that type of viewer. I need to know that the characters that I'm watching, that they have flaws, you know, that, I mean, not to say that I can't enjoy a character that is pure of heart and that is true and is noble, because there are plenty of characters that I do enjoy that are that way. But I don't know, for this type of binge session, I need a little bit more excitement. I need a little bit more action, and I feel like this new iteration of JoJo gave me that. What is this one called again? This story?
Part 2 is called Battle Tendency.
Battle Tendencies, yes.
Battle Tendency.
Yeah, and this JoJo, he ain't your daddy's JoJo. He's an ass kicking motherfucker, and I don't know. That's why I say thank God, is because we're finally, I feel like we're getting to this next step, this next evolution in war games and battles between humans and these demons or vampires or what have you. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, what you just said to the audience and to me as a pretty hardcore JoJo fan, it's pretty unoffensive what you're saying. I think I feel like amongst JoJo fans, like, you know, the real JoJo fans, and, you know, that's a can of worms. I don't want to open it up right now. There's lots of different types of JoJo fans.
Ooh, okay.
So I think to the brand of JoJo fan,
I need to know. We'll get into it, I hope, someday, of like the subsets and like the subcultures of JoJo fans. I want you to break it down for me, so that way I know what group I belong to eventually after we finish this series.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, all I'll say now about the different subsets of JoJo fans, it mainly boils down to parts. I mean, all of JoJo in general boils down to the different parts, and it forms this cohesive whole. But generally speaking, if someone you meet in the world says they're a JoJo fan, if they said that to me, the first question I would ask is like, what's your favorite part? You know,
that tells you everything you need to know.
It really does. I mean, there's a few little like quibbles between different ones. Like if someone, like, there's certain parts that someone could be like, that's my favorite part, that I'd be like, whoa, okay, we need to talk about this.
I was gonna ask you, I was gonna say, like, are there any parts that are just like considered to be just trash to the point where if someone were to say that, you're just like, okay, bro, cool, and you sort of just distance yourself from them?
All right, so I would not classify any part as trash. Far from it.
Okay.
There are at a certain point, you are kind of splitting hairs, because there are certain parts that, like, okay, I could understand why someone says part 5 is their favorite part. That's like one of the top contenders for favorite parts. So I wouldn't bat an eye if someone said, oh, part 5 is my favorite part. But if someone said part 1 is their favorite part, just for example, I would question that, and I would want them to explain to me in great detail.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
assuming they've seen everything else, would wonder that. There are other parts way later down the line that have questionable elements that a lot of people criticize. But that's a story and a conversation for another day.
No, yeah, I can see that if someone were to no, if this is us because you got me into this goddamn show and trying to get me to get through part 1 was not an easy task. So
yeah, and I mean, thankfully it's only 9 episodes, and it's just kind of the thing, going back to the original point I was trying to make, was just that the way that you think about part 1 is how a lot of people think. It's a very unoffensive statement. Like, I follow most of the prominent JoJo YouTubers out there, and to my knowledge there's only one major JoJo YouTuber. I don't think it's his favorite part by any means, but he really loves and defends Phantom
so he'll
Blood.
Die on that hill.
And he's made videos explaining his reasoning, and I think they're perfectly fine explanations for him. But yeah, generally what you're saying, it's not a big deal.
Okay, well,
I agree. I think I would agree with you.
Well,
Jonathan's just someone you respect who did his thing once upon a time.
Yeah, and back in his day, that's how you did things. But this is a new day now, and we'll talk more about that later. But up top, first of all, big stuff in the news. Crazy week. I want to talk to you about the gaming wars, the console wars. The prices have finally dropped for the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever the fuck they're calling it now. And I am an Xbox man. I just have no idea what they're calling it.
Xbox Series X is the title that you're looking for.
Okay, Xbox Series X, and then there's also the Series S.
Yes. And I can explain to you the difference between them.
I know the difference. I got the difference. One is digital only, and one has a terabyte of space or some shit, right?
I mean, that's partially correct. So I mean, the difference between the new PlayStation 5 consoles and the new Xbox consoles is the PS5 is the PS5. Regardless of whether you get the physical version or the discless version. With the Xbox Series X and S, those are two different consoles, technically. They have different specs. So with the PS5, it's just the PS5 in two different options, being just disk drive or no disk drive. With the Series X and S, the X is more comparable to the PS5. The S is somewhere in between, and there's no disk drive, so it's less powerful specs wise than the Series X, but cheaper than the diskless PS5, if all that makes sense.
And it's backwards compatible because you can play all your old Xbox. Well, no, it's only digital, so I mean, but the Series X is backwards compatible, but the PS5 is not. It can only do PS4, right?
Yeah. So the PS5 will be backwards compatible with PS4 games, physical games. But I mean, there are certain PS3 games and some PS1 classic games that you can get. Well, not physical. You can't put PS3 discs, PS2 or PS1 discs into the PS5. I don't.
And tell me why not, Nathaniel. Tell me why not.
Oh,
if I'm paying nearly $500, I would love to just be able to slide a disc on in.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you.
And for my money, that's why Microsoft's got my cash.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of reasons. I mean, there are things that are more important to certain people than other things. My entire library on PS4 is all digital games. I only have a few physical games.
So you're getting the digital?
And I have a PS3 still, so I can put in PS3 games if I want. But PlayStation does have a streaming service. It's not great, but you can play that. And they do have PS1 classics, so for digitally. But yeah, I mean, PlayStation's not great for like backwards compatibility in general. So if you have like a mountain of PS2 games laying around, then yeah, I mean, hopefully you have a PS2 to play those. But I mean, what do you have? What old games do you have that you really want the backwards compatibility to go further beyond the last generation or Xbox?
Oh, me personally, nothing. I couldn't care one way or the other. I was just playing devil's advocate. I'm gonna buy an Xbox just because I don't know. I'm an Xbox guy. I've been fucking with Xbox since they came out, so I'll just keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, brand loyalty is a good enough reason for anything, I guess. I mean, I think that from my perspective, the PlayStation 5 specifically, but PS4 as well, just had, I mean, for my taste, has better exclusives. And if they have games that I can't play anywhere else, then the PlayStation is just the obvious choice.
You give me three games that are PlayStation exclusives that are like a must that you could not live without.
Bloodborne, definitely. Persona 5 for sure. I'd have to like look at like a list of everything just to make sure, but I mean, I don't know, like God of War.
Okay.
The new one. I mean, there's all sorts of.
You know me, man. I'm
exclusives.
Not a gamer at all, so I don't know these types of things or what or why anyone would choose one console over the other, besides the fact that they just like the feel of it better. So you telling me that they're a game exclusive, or they're games exclusive to certain consoles, that doesn't surprise me. But I'd also like to know what makes these games so like incredible that you don't venture out and get another console.
Yeah. I mean, just to touch on it, I mean, quickly, I guess. I mean, so I'm pretty like entrenched in PlayStation news and just kind of the gaming industry as general. I find it fascinating, and it's something I keep pretty close tabs on. So I mean, from my point of view, PlayStation has like PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo, like these companies own a stable of developers that make games for their consoles. And from my perspective, Sony, so PlayStation, owns an incredible stable of developers that just make really great games that fit my desires and aesthetics and whatever.
Okay.
But aside from that, I mean, there are second party studios that make exclusive games just for Death Stranding, I should have said, actually, aside from God of War.
Oh yeah, I remember you had like a shirt, a Death Stranding shirt.
Yeah, I have a couple Death Stranding shirts.
All right, you don't need to flex. I just remember you had a shirt from that game.
Yeah. Death Stranding actually just came out on PC though, but it is still console exclusive.
Are you gonna be fucking with that Cyberpunk game?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's gonna be such a cultural kind of moment that I feel like I want to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, I'm buying it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, CD Projekt Red is a great developer, so I have no doubt it's gonna be great.
Sweet. Why? What? You tell me why. In 2020, we're almost in 2021. Why on earth PS4/PS5 and the Xbox Series X, why they can't merge their online communities? What's going on here, Nathaniel? If I can call someone from my Verizon phone and connect with them on their Sprint telephone, can you tell me why, please, sir? Can you get to the bottom of this?
Well, so I mean, yeah, this was like one of the biggest conversations, like I think like last year. It kind of hit like a boiling point. But so I mean, Xbox is very, man, I'd have to like bone up on exactly where everything stands now, but for the longest time PlayStation was the ones kind of like really reluctant to let crossplay onto their platform. Xbox.
So it's just a matter of flipping a switch. These guys.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's completely possible. Pretty much. I mean, the developers.
Oh my god.
Some of it relies on the developers of the games.
This makes me sick.
I think, but I mean, certain games allow it, and certain games don't. And generally, Sony was not having it for a while. And I think, I mean, yeah, it's not a good consumer move, but in terms of a company move, I mean, the way that they would justify it internally would just be that, you know, from their point of view, if you can't, if you can only play with a community that's on one console, and I don't know, most of your friends have PlayStations, then that would just be one other reason to get a PlayStation. You know, just to keep it all together. I don't know. That would be a business reason. But some I mean, you can on PlayStation you can play crossplay with certain games. But again, I don't know.
Will
exactly
you be able to with the new Cyberpunk game? Because I'm getting it, and I would love for us to be able to drop in to each other's like little cities and fucking loot some shit.
Well, I don't follow Cyberpunk news that closely, but I was not aware that there was multiplayer functionality in the game.
Okay, well, when you figure it out, you let me know, because all I want to do is run around the future. So,
okay, yeah. I mean, unless you like know something that I don't, I'm pretty sure that there's no online thing to Cyberpunk. I could be wrong.
Really?
Though.
Huh. Okay.
I don't ever remember hearing anything about it, but I could be wrong.
I just naturally assume everything's got like an online situation.
Mostly everything does these days.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, if you want to get into like Monster Hunter World or something, we can play that all night long. I
don't know what the shit that is.
Okay.
You don't want to bother explaining? Why would I do that?
I mean,
what monsters? What monsters are we hunting?
I mean, look, it's on the way out. You don't want to get into it now. Like,
then why did you bring it up?
Well, it's a really great game, but you hunt monsters together. We don't got to get into it. You have big swords and stuff, and you go around and you kill monsters together.
What types of monsters are we killing? Goblins, like ghouls? What are we talking about?
So, like, the setting and the aesthetic, you're kind of like these drunk pirates, and you just show up on this like new island.
I'm out. I don't care for pirates.
Well, they're not.
I'm out.
They're not pirates. No, they're not pirates.
Said pirates.
Well,
I'm out.
I'm just saying they came to the island on ships. It's not.
It sounds a lot like a pirate to me.
It's not like real. I mean, you're basically.
Whoa. Wait, on a ship? Like against their will?
No. They're everyone's there willingly.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Well,
several generations of my people have heard that before, sir.
Yeah, I guess they don't. Monster Hunter doesn't really care too much about explaining anything. They just kind of, you show up and they're like, this land should probably be ours. There's just a bunch of dumb monsters here, and then you just like, you just extinct like everything. And there's just a million of these monsters. There's just like huge dinosaurs, and you go out and kill like 50 of them, and there's just more. So I guess it makes sense. You want to live there, so if you want to live somewhere, you got to just kill everything that's there, right? I mean, how else would you do it?
Yeah, no, how else?
I mean, what do you
can't reason with these. I mean, they're monsters.
You sailed all the way there, like you're just gonna go home?
You can't. Yeah, you already have a place you could go back to. You're already in the new place where you plan to set up shop. You have to stay there at that point. It's your place now.
Yeah, there are some like indigenous kind of little creatures that live there that can talk to you and stuff, but they sort of just like live in the trees and they don't bother you.
Do you kill those too?
No, you don't kill any of those.
Oh, but you kill everything else so that way you scare the sentient life on the island and they fear you.
Yeah.
And they don't become a problem. I get it. Okay.
I guess.
Sounds like a fun game. Sounds cool.
It is.
I wonder why it's on the way out.
Well, it came out a while ago.
Well, like in Confederate times? What's up?
No, like a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. Well, different time.
Yeah.
It was a simpler time.
I guess. I mean, so did I answer? I don't know. Do you feel satisfied with your gaming questions?
Yeah, no, you're the person I go to if I ever have any gaming questions. So yeah, I do appreciate you shedding some light. I do not appreciate Sony pulling their shit with their pricing at $498.99. What the fuck is that about?
What?
Their pricing on the PS5, $498.99.
That's not the price.
What's the price?
$499.99. $500 bucks. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Then wait, was the $498 thing just like?
There's no $498. I have no idea what that is.
No, it was $498.99.
I sincerely promise you, with every.
Did you pre-order it already?
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
I swear to God, I saw the PlayStation price at $498.99.
Look it up live on the air. The digital version is $399. The disc version is $499.
I mean, I'll look it up. My connection isn't the best right now.
Okay.
So I'll get back to you whenever I find that information.
Yeah. We'll just we'll like re-record.
Yeah, that's not necessary.
We'll get up. We'll get up in the middle of the night when you figure it out, and we'll just pop back on.
Yeah, whenever the information becomes available, we'll insert it. But it's not necessary to do so.
I'll fax you over a copy of my receipt once I get my console.
I don't even have a fax, so I don't know what we're gonna do with that.
Neither do I.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So, what you watching? What you reading, buddy?
Yeah. So, I believe that this is an anime podcast. However, I haven't really been watching anything new or that interesting anime wise. I like started a couple series, unfortunately we weren't like, so I mean, obviously, like we've said before, we recorded like all the Phantom Blood episodes like a year ago, so in between then and now I've watched a few things, but we weren't like actively recording episodes while we did that. So I mean, briefly I can say like the one thing that I definitely watched from beginning to end, not that it was very long, was wait, I'm blanking, hold on. Was Devilman Crybaby on Netflix.
What the hell is that? Never even heard of that. Is it good?
So yeah, it's really good. I mean, it was kind of like pretty hot. Like, it didn't come out last year. I think it came out in like 2018. I think maybe 2017, but I think it was like 2018. But I was a little late to the party with it. But basically, I'm not like fully up on like the history, but apparently there was a series just called Devilman that came out in like I'm probably gonna get all this wrong. They came out in like the 80s or something, or it was an older series just called Devilman. And basically this new series was kind of like a way to sort of like retell the story in like a modern setting, and it's like hyper brutal and like very like sexual themes are like a huge part of it. It's basically like there's this guy, this like high school kid, obviously, and he is like the biggest wimp ever, and he kind of has this like childhood friend who's kind of this weird sort of like rich recluse, and he basically like comes back into his life and starts talking to him about like, oh geez, I'm like butchering all of this, but essentially this old friend that this guy has like comes back into his life and tells him that like demons exist and he wants to go like try and film them or something. And essentially this main character gets like infected or something with like demon blood.
Well, don't like ruin the entire show.
This is like the first episode. This is like the first episode.
All right, don't.
But, okay, this guy turns into a demon and he can fight demons.
For the premise.
They fight demons together. They fight demons together.
That sounds a lot like Demon Slayer, Nathaniel.
It's nothing like Demon Slayer.
Sounds a lot like Demon Slayer.
Well, whatever. I'm totally like I watched this like 4 months ago or something. But yeah, definitely it's pretty short. It's on Netflix. If you've probably seen it if you're like into anime, but
you finish any manga lately?
Yeah, so
manga boy.
So yeah. So that's like the main thing I wanted to get into. I haven't really been watching anything else lately. I have a few things I might want to start, but yeah. So manga, I've been spending a lot of time reading some. I wanted to get some like bigger series out of the way. The one that's been on like my list forever, and I actually started it a long time ago and didn't get very far, is Berserk. Are you familiar with Berserk?
No.
All right, so Berserk is like one of the like top like legendary like manga series. It's been running since like 1990, I think. And it's all written and illustrated by this one dude. And it's just like a masterpiece of dark fantasy. And it's I mean, I don't know. Do I want to just gush about it forever? It's incredible. I mean, for anyone who hasn't read it, I mean, it's like a must read manga.
Okay.
It's I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess just to give like a little background on it for anyone who I guess doesn't know Berserk. Yeah, I mean, it's dark fantasy. It follows this the main character is this brooding, hulking, handsome man. He's pretty good-looking guy, I guess. But he's the swordsman Guts. You know Guts?
What?
Do you? I know you haven't heard of Berserk as a title, but are you familiar with the character Guts?
No, absolutely not.
He's on our artwork, our podcast artwork.
Okay.
On the left-hand side, he's got like a huge sword that's like taller than him. The Dragon Slayer.
I'll take a look at it.
Okay. All right. I feel like you don't want me to talk about Berserk. It's great.
What? What are you talking about? I asked you to tell me about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's.
I just don't want you to like get lost in the weeds.
I'm trying to
like fall down the rabbit hole.
I'm trying to figure out how to not fall down the rabbit hole.
I think you already did. You give a quick pitch. What you're reading, what you're watching, and then you keep going.
All right. Well, I read all 360 whatever chapters, so I'm all caught up. And now I'm in Berserk jail with everyone else, where we wait like 6 months at a time for the chapters to get released, because it's like a huge meme that the author like never like Berserk has basically just been on like a massive hiatus, like on and off for like years. So I think it's like to the point where like maybe 1 or 2 chapters are released a year at this point. Oof. And like, so I was a little reluctant to like get into it now and then just be like super depressed when I catch up. Yeah. And like, I'll just, the last thing I'll say is like, there is an element to the story where like there's this massive thing that you just as a reader, like assuming you're invested in everything, like there's this one element that like you want to happen more than anything in the world, and it just takes fucking forever. And like the amount of time that it would take in real time if you were reading, like there are people, anyone who's been reading Berserk since the beginning have literally waited for this thing to happen for like, I don't know, 15 years. Yeah, since like 93 or something, when I was like a little baby. And and it took me, you know, I think I caught up with all of Berserk in like I don't know, like 2 months or something, 2 or 3 months.
Why would you do that to yourself? Why wouldn't you just space it out if you knew that the end was...
Well, it was...
Well, not even that the end was coming, that you were going to catch up and just have nothing.
Well, I mean, if you're like into something and you want to see more, like, is it that easy to just be like, oh, I'll just set it aside?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's you. Okay, that's you.
All right.
But like, it impacted me, like... I mean, I won't say what it is or anything, but like the whole process and experience of like just everything in general, but that one specific element hit me on such an emotional level that, and that was only over like a 3-month period of time. So I can't imagine the like emotional weight or release of this thing hitting like someone who's been reading for like their whole life potentially. So I don't know.
Okay. That's high praise.
Pretty powerful stuff. It's hilarious. It's horrifying. It's... Yeah, Guts, I think, is one of the great anti-heroes of anything I've ever read. Definitely. Right. I just have one more manga. I'll keep it quick.
Okay.
All right.
No, sure, go for it.
So, have you ever heard of Gantz?
No.
All right. So I don't know, like I had kind of heard about it before I got into it. But I think it's generally, I don't know how popular it is because it was like, it ran for quite a long time. I think it started in like 2000 and ended in like 2013 maybe. But it got like, I think maybe one season of an anime adaptation in like 2005 or something. And it looks pretty busted, like if you look it up today. So I don't know if I would recommend it, the anime. But man, I have so much to say about it, but I don't want to like. It's just gonna be me like ranting, so I don't want to like get into it too much. But generally, like the gist of what it is like it's a high school student who he's just like a complete piece of shit. Like he doesn't care about anyone in the world but himself. And he's, you know, it starts and he's in this, he's in a subway station in Japan, and this kind of like old childhood friend or this old guy he used to know shows up. And this guy is like the purest heart of any human. Like he's like the embodiment of like kind-heartedness, like the complete opposite of this guy. And they are sort of like, oh, hey, like it's crazy we ran into each other. And then this like drunk homeless guy falls on the tracks. The pure-hearted guy jumps down there. He's like, hey, someone's got to help me. And he basically ropes our main character into like going down and trying to get this old guy out. They get the homeless guy out, but then they can't get out in time. They're both killed by this train, and they wake up in this Tokyo high-rise with all these other random people. And no one knows why they're there, how they got there. Everyone just remembers that they just died or had like a near-death experience. And there's this black orb in the middle of the room that basically tells them, you've all died. If you want to leave this room, you have to go. We're going to send you out onto the streets of Tokyo, and you have to murder this fugitive alien. And they give them like all these guns and these like high-tech like black suits and send them out, and like no one knows what the fuck they're doing, and it's a total shit show. And basically they're like, you have to do this every single week, and you rack up points, and if you get 100 points, then you go back out into the world. And so that's kind of like the setup. But man, it's such a weird, like I did really enjoy it, but it's such a weird series. Like it was like pretty hilarious at points. It's extremely like violent. It's kind of like a edgelord series almost. Like there's just like excessive nudity and like excessive violence, but it kind of doesn't take itself too seriously. There's kind of like a twinkle in its eye, but there's just like wacky shit in it. Like main characters are just introduced and killed instantly, and like certain characters disappear for like 100 chapters and just come back, and like main villains just are gone in an instant, and you're like, wait, what the fuck happened? Like it was a total just, I don't.
And this is Gans or Gantz?
Gantz, Gantz. And
Gantz.
there are just storylines just like tumbling into each other, and like shit doesn't make sense at all, and you don't even understand like what it's totally wild and just bonkers. And but it's like it was a fun time. It didn't take me as long as Berserk, but it was just like a wacky, wild series. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, there's some like upsetting stuff, I guess, if you're very sensitive to certain things, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but maybe I would. I don't know. You just have to test it out.
Okay, maybe eventually we'll get a list compiled of all the manga that you recommend or that you have read, so that way our listeners can keep track if they want to check out any of the stuff that you have in your library.
Yeah. I mean, I've read some other stuff too, but I don't want to dominate the conversation in what we've been watching. So do you have anything that you've been watching or reading?
Oh, well, that's so kind of you to ask, Nathaniel. Thank you.
Or we could just move on.
No. We can move on, but I would love to answer.
Okay.
I actually just finished an anime this week, Darwin's Game. I don't know if you've caught that at all or heard about that.
I haven't.
It's no. Okay. I saw it on Funimation. It's only like 11 and 12 episodes. Follows a 17-year-old kid, Kaname Sudo. He accidentally opens an app on his phone called Darwin's Game, and when he does it, a serpent, or this large snake that only he can see, comes out of his phone, bites him in the neck, and then gives him unbeknownst to him, eventually he finds out that just with that bite, he's given a special power they called sigils, and he is then inducted into this war, as it is, where basically you fight to the death or until you surrender, and you are awarded points, and there are these giant like quests you can go on and whatnot. So yeah, it's like you were saying about Gantz. It's kind of edgelordy in its tone, because there's a lot of violence. The main character, Kaname, his sigil is that he can create any weapon, or he can actually create objects after he touches them. But yeah, for the most part, all he creates are grenades, rocket launchers, handguns, that type of thing, tasers. And it's not like he's like this uber violent guy or anything. It's just these were the weapons that were available to him. And he actually uses fear and his wits, of course, for the most part, in dominating in this game, because this game is filled with like killers and thugs and just criminals who get off on murdering and killing, and he accidentally finds himself in this game and he doesn't want to play, so he has to figure out how to get out without hurting anyone. And as he does this, he begins to of course build a team. And that's the thing I wanted to talk to you about animes. Like, it feels like, for me anyway, it takes at least like a solid 10 to 12 before an anime really gets going and before the story really starts to take shape.
10 to 12 episodes?
Yeah, I mean, of course there's the first couple where you get the story and it lays down the foundation, but I'm saying like 10 to 12 is where you get like your first like big boss battle. Maybe you see one of the characters that you've come to love, they fall. You finally get to see some of the stakes, and it's just at that point when Darwin's Game cuts out, because it's only 11 or 12 episodes. Yeah. So I felt like all the stuff leading up, I was like, okay, it's cool, but I mean, I didn't love any of it, but that last episode, it hit, and I was like, now that I see where it's going, I'd love to see a season 2. I'm more excited for a season 2 than I am for what I saw during season 1.
Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. I think that, I mean, I definitely feel that way too. I mean, I'm trying to just generally think back on like all the series I've watched, and like I can't say there's that many that like I felt invested in like right from the start. I think it was maybe a little bit easier when I like first started watching anime. Like like one of the, I think the second series I ever watched back when I first got into anime was Death Note. And I know that's like a lot of people's first anime, but like it might have been a mix of like that was my first taste, and it's, you know, it's such a popular thing that, I mean, clearly the formula works for a lot of people. So I remember that I was like, whoa, like immediately sucked in, like pretty instantly, like within the first episode or two at least. But that, I think that was maybe more of a rare circumstance.
But I feel like after you've seen a few different types of anime, after you've watched like some crime anime, some shonen, some sci-fi stuff, some of the fan servicey things, you start to see the formula. You know, you start to see the matrix of it all, and you're just sort of waiting for that moment. And for this particular show, Darwin's Game, for this anime, that moment didn't come until episode 12 or episode 11. I'm sorry. And yeah, it just, I don't know. I would love to recommend it, and I would love to say check it out. But it's sort of just like a whatever type show. If season 2 hits and it like knocks my socks off, I will go on to say like, okay, yeah, season 1 is fine, but season 2 is where it's at. But you know, don't know yet, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing too, because like when you think about like 10 to 12 episode seasons, like when you're talking about anime, that does seem kind of short. But at the same time, a lot of the time, like a typical like 22 or 24 episode like anime season, like a lot of the time, I think, like, wouldn't you agree that it's pretty common to have like filler episodes in anime?
For sure. Like with Cowboy Bebop, they definitely have filler episodes, and they only have about 26 episodes for a season.
Yeah,
for that first season.
Yeah, so it's like I feel like there's got to be a balance between like enough storytelling to feel invested in whatever series it is, but then also to not get bogged down by just these filler episodes. I mean, I think you could make the case for certain filler episodes. Like if there's an episode that's just not plot concerned and you're just kind of focusing on character stuff, then I think that that makes total sense. But I mean, what like the big meme in anime is like the beach episode, right? You know?
Oh, for Avatar or whatever.
I mean, just in general, there just seemed that's like a pretty common thing, is an episode where the characters just go to a beach and they're just hanging out at a beach. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying, and that's also kind of something that I've been appreciating about these different manga that I'm trying to get into, is like it feels a little less, I don't know, there's something about watching anime that's like, it feels like more of a commitment to me, at least, than like if I like get a manga in front of me and I just have like all these chapters. Like the chapters are short. Like typically, like I think generally speaking, like you'd probably have like 3 chapters of a manga would be like 3 or 4 chapters of a manga would be like one episode of a show. You know, so like the chapters are shorter for most manga, and I just feel like I can get through it quicker, and like I don't have to like wait around, and so it feels like I can sort of like dive into, like I can get to the meat of it quicker in certain manga, rather than like sitting around and waiting for an anime to really like a series to get going. So I don't know. That's something that I definitely appreciate about manga. It just feels like I can get through it quicker, but the impact is still the same.
The way I don't. Okay.
What?
The way you say "get through it," you've said it twice now, and it tickles my ear in a certain way. It get through it quicker, through it quick. I don't know. It's funny. Made me laugh.
Like the literal way I say it.
Yeah.
Get through it. Get through it quicker.
Well, now it's
get
not
through
so
it.
funny.
Get
yeah,
through
there it is.
I don't know.
Get through it.
Get through it.
Made me giggle. Appreciate
All right.
it. We also, me and my lady, we finished The Sopranos, as I was telling you the other. She had never seen it, and we were doing a binge. And as I told you, she was very upset
at the end. The famous Sopranos ending.
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen it, we're not going to spoil it. We're just going to, and for those of you who have seen it, you know what's up. She felt some type of way about it, and she's currently in what she calls her showpression, where she can't really watch anything of any value, and everything that she does watch is just like surface BS because she's still connected to the world that she just left.
Yeah, so. I mean, that's a common thing with it's interesting because I feel like with anime that doesn't happen as much because most series are like shorter and quicker.
I don't know, man. I kind of feel like it does.
Maybe it does. Yeah. Well, because I was gonna say that like I definitely felt that after I was finished with Berserk, but that's because it was so long. Like most things aren't that long. It was like a real commitment. It was almost like I binged like all of the Sopranos.
Good point. Good point.
So I haven't read any manga since I finished Berserk because it was such an emotion. Oh, and I didn't even finish it. I just caught up. So I'm left in this weird state where it's like, yeah, like the idea of cracking open a new series is like
you're just not ready yet.
Yeah, I'm just not ready. Anytime I've watched like a big drama, like non-anime series like The Sopranos or The Wire or something, yeah, it's definitely like, damn, how do I move on from this?
Yeah, what do you even do next? And yeah, that's where she's at right now. So that gave me some time to catch up on some anime. It did not leave me it did leave me much time to read, but I have not read anything. I got a stack of comics that you wouldn't believe that I need to get to, and more to buy next week. But that's a different podcast for a different time. That's pretty much what I got going on. I haven't really read anything, unfortunately.
And comics, you're talking about where you read them from left to right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know.
The Lord intended.
I don't know anything about that. Sounds interesting.
Well, I mean,
sounds crazy, actually.
Dude, there's actually this comic I want to let you borrow after I finish. It's by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. It's called Pulp. It's set in Western times, so I feel like you'll appreciate
like cowboys.
Yes, but they are typically they are the duo who wrote The Fade Out.
Right. I never caught up with that.
But you did read part of it, right?
Maybe like a little bit of it a long time ago, but I don't really remember it.
Well, whatever. They're the duo that they typically write like crime and like noir and like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's good. You'll appreciate it. You'll dig it.
All right. Yeah, sure, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think before we jump into JoJo. Well, are you good with the what we're watching, reading? Do you have anything else?
Yeah. No. All right. I'm feeling good.
For sure. Me too. So I think that this marks we're going to enter in a little discussion section on something that we'll get into before we jump into JoJo. So I just want to set the stage for this, if you don't mind.
Please do, my friend.
All right. So both Dom and I are aware that it is in the back half. We are in the back half of 2020, right? And it's a little. We're having this conversation maybe a little past when a conversation like this should have happened.
Yeah.
So recently, before we really like started doing this show, you had came to me and you said that, or well, actually, I had seen on Twitter a take of yours where you had just caught up with the anime adaptation of the show Demon Slayer. Attention. We may or may not spoil the show currently being discussed. You've been warned. Now,
yes.
I would assume that pretty much everyone knows what Demon Slayer is.
I would hope so.
It is now a massive, massive critical hit series.
Phenomenon. Sweeping the nation, baby.
It's definitely a phenomenon. And that's why I just wanted to kind of acknowledge that maybe we're just past like the point when when it was at its relevancy, when it was the first season was airing. Well, it's not past relevancy. It's just past like the critical.
Yeah, it's not at its height right now. But I'm not saying like it's at its low point or anything. Like the movie was set to come out in October, so there's still buzz. You know what I mean? People are still chomping at the bit for more Demon Slayer.
Yeah. Really quick, your mic is like scraping a little bit.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good. Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. It's obviously still massively relevant. I was gonna even bring up at some point. I was watching this. Not sure if you're familiar with, but people who are on YouTube a lot and are in the anime community probably know of this guy. There's this really big YouTuber called Super Eye Patch Wolf. Do you know of him?
No, I never heard of him.
He makes really interesting kind of like video essay style stuff on different anime and manga related things. But I watched a video by him somewhat recently, within the last couple months, I think, where he was kind of doing breakdowns of the Shonen Jump magazine, you know, like just the actual Shonen Jump magazine. And, you know, and he was going over what the biggest series are like for certain, like they release numbers, you know, of like readers of the magazine and like what series are most popular. And, you know, obviously the king of shonen forever has been One Piece. Like it's always at the top of the list. It's always number one pretty much. And so I guess for the first time in like years, Demon Slayer actually broke ahead and is now
gang.
There were some like caveats to it, I think, but generally speaking, it was so I mean, obviously it's incredibly relevant, but just in terms of like the anime adaptation, like everyone was talking about it last year, and now we're kind of having this discussion about it like a year later. But
we're bringing it back, man.
Yeah. So before I unleash you to say what you want to say about it, I just want to.
I got nothing to. What are you talking? Keep going.
All right. Well, until we get into the actual discussion, so I just want to say that. So when it came out, so I follow, you know, quite a few different anime people. I kind of have my finger on the pulse to an extent to where I know what shows are happening any given season. And
you say this, and yet I come to you and I say, hey man, have you seen this, and you're like, no,
but listen to what I'm saying. When I say I have my finger on the pulse, that doesn't mean I'm watching every single show. I just saying that I generally know what people are watching and what's happening. And I just want to say that last year or whatever, when Demon Slayer first came out, like I knew that people were watching it. People were basically saying, hey, this is a good adaptation. It's very well produced. It's good. And then I was like, okay, I'm aware of Demon Slayer. And then I went about my life. I wasn't really watching much last year. And then what?
The same thing happens. It always happens. And then you throw this in my face as if it's my fault that the things that I love are fucking popular. Fire.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Wait until things blow up and become massive hits, and then you tell me it's too big. I don't want to watch it. There's too much hype around it.
Dude, I'm just giving
I'm letting you know.
I'm giving the background. I'm giving the background.
No, give the background. Please do.
Damn.
Please do. I'm giving our listeners the background.
That's what I'm trying to. What do you think? I'm giving you the background?
No. I want our listeners to know what you do to me. I want them to know the hell that you put me through on a daily basis.
A daily basis. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if I can just finish my introduction, I'm not even giving. Even giving any hot takes or anything.
Okay.
Go. All right.
I want to interrupt.
I knew that. I'm just saying that I knew it existed, and then the episode happened. Whatever episode that was, when it just blasts through the stratosphere, and all of a sudden, it's everyone's favorite show, and like 2 minutes later, and I'm just watching this from the sidelines. I have no opinion about the show at this point in my life. All I'm seeing is that one episode hits, something happened that I didn't really understand. And then all of a sudden, it's like everyone's like, "Oh, this is the greatest of all time." I'm seeing like tier lists of like battle tournaments where people are like like voting for like shows against shows, and Demon Slayer's like ending up in like the final tiers against like all-time anime shows, and I'm just sitting from the sidelines like, "Whoa, this is crazy!" Like, what is it? Could it be that good? Like. And so, but I just felt like it was too hot for me to get near, and I wasn't really watching anything. I was like still going through this like school program I was doing at the time. So like it didn't make sense. And just generally speaking, I'm not saying anything about Demon Slayer because I didn't watch it at the time. But generally speaking, certain points in our culture, pieces of media come about where it could be an anime series, it could be a normal television series, it could be a movie, sometimes it could be a book, whatever. Sometimes things happen where it just like explodes, and to see that from my perspective, whatever the movie or piece of media might be, I get this sense of like I'm skeptical instantly because I'm like, how could this be? I'm just telling people where I'm coming from.
Okay.
This is just the backstory.
Yeah.
Okay? This is character backstory.
Yeah, sure.
Imagine if you watched an anime series with no backstory.
I want to explain.
You can.
My side of this. My side of this is simple. Get in on the ground floor. Just check it out. Like,
but you didn't get in on the ground floor.
Yeah, or because I didn't. So I'm saying, or not even that. Or what you do, you don't pay attention to what other people say.
That's fine. I never once. It was never a like objectively critical thing. I never said one thing about the show online or to anyone else. It was just from the sidelines. I'm aware of the. I mean, there's not even a flaw because I'm not making any like I never made any statements about it. It's just like internally in my mind, I think, could it possibly be this good? Is it possible? Obviously, this is all a subjective thing, but when you collectively see the internet like rally to the point where it almost seems undeniable. So I had this, it's just like a question in the back of my mind, but like I didn't get around to it. And then fast forward to whatever it was, like what, 2 or 3 months ago?
Something like that.
Yeah. So I just see randomly on Twitter, you hadn't talked to me about it before. All of a sudden, I guess we should also say, like, you really got into anime with My Hero Academia, correct?
Yeah, I watched some anime when I was a kid, like I said, Dragon Ball, Ronin Warriors, Sailor Moon, all that shit, when I was a kid on Toonami and everything, but within the last year or two, you didn't introduce me to it. I just watched an episode of My Hero randomly. I was bored and I think out of work, and I turned on Hulu and bam, put on My Hero and fell in love with it instantly.
Yeah.
Because of the subject matter. Huge comic book geek, and it is a world of shonen anime characters in like a comic book type setting. So yeah, perfect recipe for me to fall in love with it.
Yeah, definitely. And so like, I know that we hadn't like talked about My Hero like recently, but I just sort of in my mind, in the back of my mind, assumed that you know, you have this great soft spot for My Hero. I just sort of assumed that it was always going to hold a. Well, I'm not saying it doesn't still hold a special place in your heart, but I just thought that was your favorite thing in terms of anime. And then all of a sudden, I see this take on Twitter that you have where you say, I just watched Demon Slayer, and it's now like the greatest of all time in my eyes. And that just like, just on its own, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But then I remembered back to the conversation around it last year, and I'm like, wow, I guess it's hitting you in this way. It hit everyone in this way. It bypassed My Hero Academia in your eyes. So I was very shocked to the point where I was like, okay, and you also said I should watch it. So, you know, I try and watch it.
I literally begged you.
I know. And it didn't take that long. I said, okay.
That's true.
I said, yeah, okay, like I'm hearing this from you. I'm hearing this from literally the entire world and the entire internet for like the last year. So I guess now is the time. So, and you have not heard a single thing that I think about it. You have no idea what.
Yeah, you finished this a month ago?
Yeah, probably. So yeah, so essentially I just, over the course of like, I don't know, 2 days or something, 2 or 3 days, I watched season 1 of Demon Slayer, and then I thought, you know, I was pleased to hear that the manga had just finished. Like it literally just finished earlier this year, and it's not that many. I think it's like 200 chapters. I'm like, that's pretty doable compared to what I've been doing. So I'll just hop over to the manga, and I think I read. I mean, I haven't been keeping up with it lately, but I read up to like chapter 100 and some, like 2 or 3. So I'm pretty like I'm essentially halfway done with the series. I have more context than just the season 1.
Yeah.
So like I have a fair bit of it in my mind and everything. Okay. So I have a lot to consider when I say my thing, but I do want you to give your.
So wait. So you're finally going to tell me like if you enjoyed it or not, because that's basically all I wanted to know.
Okay. Well, I will say I just want to ask you one thing before and I already told you what this question was, but I just want to ask you on the air, and then I'll tell you what I think. Because because I think you also made another tweet in addition to saying it was the greatest of all time.
I made several. Yeah. Folks, I be tweeting. If you need to know anything about Dom Esclovon, is Dom be tweeting. You can follow me at _DangerDom _ I had to change it recently. We'll talk about that some other time.
All right.
But yeah, keep going.
Okay. So in addition, you had tweeted something like, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said something like that, like, or didn't you say something like I was hooked, like in, or no, you didn't say anything like that. Whatever, never mind. Just my question is, for this show being the greatest of all time in your eyes, at what episode, like, or at what moment, was there a moment, was there an episode, like at what point did this solidify in your mind as this is the greatest of all time? Was it at the very end? Was it?
No.
Okay.
No. Because I wasn't even at the end, like when they set off for the train and everything, I wasn't even like, oh shit. It's sort of just like, all right, here we go. We're going on to our next fight. But when it hit me that there was something different about this show, or that even like it just affected me differently. I don't know. I think it was during episode 3. Was that when the training montage, where he go? Yeah.
I think it was like that was like the end of the training montage.
I kind of feel like it was then. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so JoJo episode 10.
That's what we're doing now?
No.
That's it?
No.
Okay.
All right.
Seriously.
I will unleash my opinion about the show.
Hit me.
All right. So I think that I like it. I think that it's nothing less than a good show that I like. I just can't. I mean, we can get into it, but I do have to just say that I don't think I understand the like, I just can't get to that point with it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's
so
fair,
so I will say that yeah, watching the whole first season and reading up to episode 100, I really I mean, the cultural kind of hype and appreciation for it, I definitely don't think I understand it.
But when do you ever? And here's
know.
my thing. You typically wait to hop onto these things way after, and after you've already like put your feet into the ground and told yourself there's no way that you could possibly feel this way. You've told yourself that.
But I don't understand how I could actively watch a whole thing and read more of a whole thing, and I would actively block an effective thing. Like, if I'm watching objective greatness
because
on
you
the
don't
screen,
want me to have the satisfaction, Nathaniel.
You have the
because
satisfaction of every fucking person on the internet behind you, and I don't dislike it at all. I don't dislike it at all.
Not yet, America.
I just all right. So
well, I'm glad you like it. I'll say that much. And
yeah,
you know what? I mean, there are different things about that show that I don't know. And that's not to say that there aren't other animes that do things better or do things differently that I enjoyed more. It's just that right now in my life, Demon Slayer is the best anime that I have seen, and it hits me in a different way. I can't explain it. And that I just watched all of Dragon Ball Super as well. I used to be a huge Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z fan when I was a kid. I also live tweeted a bunch of that on Twitter, went through all that. And no, Demon Slayer, I don't know. The way Tanjiro, he builds a new family. That's part of it too. That's another thing. As you're watching him go through these trials and these tribulations, he meets Zenitsu and he meets Inosuke. And these guys who... they don't seem like they can find their asshole from their elbow. They become this team, and it ain't pretty. You can see that, but the bonds that are starting to form between the three of them, I feel like it's going to take them to the next level. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So I guess I just feel like I hear what you're saying, and it's an obvious
Nezuko-chan.
Nezuko-chan. Okay. So if I can be a little more, I mean, if I can be a little more down on a few elements of it,
here we go.
I feel like on some level I appreciate like expediency and like getting into it, but this Demon Slayer just happens way too quickly for me.
Oh my god, I love how quickly it happens. They trim all the fat. They trim all the fat. And that's what I told you from the jump.
There is a healthy, I think, like I just said, I appreciate it sometimes.
Dude.
But here, dude, okay, it's like, if you want to get into it, that's fine. But if you want to like have him come home in that first episode and see his massacred family, and like you have,
what do you need? 3 episodes of him going to each body and having a flashback?
No, but seriously, like they try and play it off as this emotional thing, and this is like his driving force in the entire series. It's like, I don't know anything about his relationship with his family. I don't know anything about his relationship with Nezuko. Like,
you just got it all right before that when he was setting up all the coal to go down to town. Everyone, all his siblings were like, yo, I'm trying to party. What's up, Tanjiro? You're my big bro. I love you. Everyone wanted to
that whole scene was literally like, you are my little brother. You are my mother. Good. We
No,
established
everyone wanted a piece of him. Everyone wanted to spend time with him. He touched all of them. He was the man of the house. That's what they were establishing, is that he was a core piece of all of their lives, and they were a core piece of his life. All of them. He was a piece of all of them, and they were all a piece of him. That's what they were establishing. I'm sorry that you didn't get that. I'm sorry, Nathaniel.
Well, I there's a difference between me not understanding something and it not being effective. I mean, I didn't find the and still too, like, I don't need 3 episodes of him talking with his family, but at the end of episode 3, he is an experienced swordsman with like great skill, ready to go into battle.
But
like, that's too,
kind of find out later
fast.
on that he is, he's kind of genetically predisposed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's
all right then.
It's just still, and like, I do not. I mean, I really don't understand the Nezuko obsession. Like, she does not do it for me.
I mean, I would hope not, but she's still like cool because she's got the blood exploding demon art. That's pretty fucking dope.
But she, like, it's really, I find it annoying that, like, in all these fights, Tanjiro is just fighting with her on his back for like 25 minutes until
but it's so dope though, because that's part of it. It's part of what makes him so much stronger, because she's not completely weightless. There's still weight on his back, so then you have to imagine once he takes that off, he's then that much faster.
But it's still just like yeah, okay, it's impressive that he's physically carrying her around and everything, but like on another level, it's just like, okay, he's gonna fight on his own until he gets backed into a corner, and then she's gonna come out and like help, when she could just have been there the entire time.
Yeah, but I mean, that little problem that you have seems to be the problem that you could pick with every fight in shonen. I mean,
there's a lot of fights. Yeah, I'm not saying these are any problems that are unique to Demon Slayer. I just find what
you just find you're saying.
Well, I don't know. I feel strongly about all the things that I'm saying, and like you're talking about the family dynamic between the 3 boys. Like I like them. What's the crybaby's name? Zenitsu. Yeah, he doesn't do it for me. He just doesn't. Like, it's not a big enough payoff. His little like bursts of coolness, like, that's not enough. That's not enough.
Having you read further and seeing more, that's still not enough.
It's the same. It doesn't. Nothing changes. He's the exact same up until the point I've read, at least. Like, it's the same dynamic. He's a complete and total crybaby bitch boy until his like one moment where he does something cool. Like, and I will say, like, without like spoiling anything that happens, like, after season 1 of the anime, like, it's establishing a pretty strong like formula for how it treats, like, it's like this thing happens, and then right after that the exact same thing is going to happen again, but in different circumstances, and then after that thing's done, and so I see it might do a total 180 like at some point, but like so far it's like, here you go, and then here you go, and then here you go, and then here you go.
So it's too formulaic for you.
Yeah, I mean, especially once they reach the, well, I mean, even up until they reached the like the school or whatever, the school grounds, like, it was pretty, like, it was pretty much fight of the week type thing.
Yeah.
And fight of the week, it's like, I can't be mad at fight of the week in anime. I mean, that's
right.
It's to be expected.
I mean, if anything, I would consider that to be whatever fat you got of the season was the fight of the week stuff. And I feel like that was just to give you the ground rules of what the demons in this world could and couldn't do, and to show you the progression. And I guess just to show you some of the special moves, or the what are they called again? The breathing styles. Sorry.
In JoJo?
No, Jesus, no, Demon Slayer. We're talking Demon Slayer,
well,
baby.
Wait a second. Actually, this is something that I thought about a while ago.
I know.
Oh, what?
Get into it. The Hammond versus breathing styles shit.
Well, I mean, you could draw that comparison, but there's actually something that becomes even more prominent in Demon Slayer once it transitions to the manga, or I mean, once I transition to the manga. It's something that hasn't appeared yet in JoJo, but it is like straight up like the exact like it's the exact thing.
Like
and
they lifted it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there was some specific language that I like laughed out loud at, like in disbelief at one point, like in the manga, that like a character said something about a certain ability, and I was like, bruh, this is like exact language from JoJo about specific abilities that's like a later JoJo thing that like and it was just too much of like, I'm like, in that moment I was like, okay, if this is what Demon Slayer is, if this is like how, like if this is the pattern for abilities, like this is similar to a lot in JoJo, and I appreciate this type of ability. I think like JoJo does this specific type of thing better than Demon Slayer is doing it. So in terms of that specific thing that I still want to like kind of remain vague on, it's just like I felt like, okay, like I've seen this and it's cool, but for my taste, JoJo does this specific thing in a more interesting way for my taste. But
okay.
Yeah, and then like the whole I'm not like into the whole sob story at the end of every fight that you get with like the demons. It's like
it only works sometimes. There's only a couple episodes where I was just like, fuck yeah. But not even, you know what? The ones yeah. No. Like I was saying, it only works sometimes. I can't say that it works every time.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah, it's to the point where it's like, okay, and I mean, obviously, it's pretty, like, I don't know who could really, like, contest, like, the animation in season 1. I mean, it's extremely...
Come on. It's fucking flawless.
I just said I don't know who could contest it.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
It's
next level. I just wanted to say myself.
Yeah. It's definitely impressive.
Breathtaking, Nathaniel. It's breathtaking.
Yeah, it's good.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, I've
never seen anything better.
I will say though that aside from the production value and the quality of the animation, generally speaking, I think aesthetically, I don't find the world or the character designs like interesting at all. Like just in terms of the character designs and the world, it's like a little generic. Like I would say that the manga style, like the manga art style, while similar, the manga art style is more interesting to me if you've seen panels.
I have. It's a bit, it's kind of distorted, right?
It's like, yeah, I've been trying to think of like how I would describe it,
because they show it in the bumpers on the actual episodes, if you remember.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's kind of like there's a lot of like hard lines. And
sort of rough.
Yeah, it's like a little rough. There's like hard lines, and like there's a lot of like blacks with like white line work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I've seen some scans of some later things with Zenitsu, and
it just looks I don't know, I think
me personally, I love the character designs. I mean, I can't get enough of them.
I just
Inosuke, Tomioka, his the like split pattern on his gi, love it.
Yeah,
and the reason behind it, chef's kiss, Nathaniel.
I get
burp?
No.
Okay.
I guess well, I mean, one of the last things I'll say is just that, and again, like when you get an anime adaptation, it becomes this unique thing where it's like, so I mean, having read through some of the manga and like seen, like, because as I was watching through season 1, I had the manga open, and after every episode I would just sort of scroll through the manga, and it's literally panel for panel.
Good.
Yeah, so like it's extremely one-to-one, but in the same breath, like okay, so the episode where the moment, like the fight that like skyrocketed Demon Slayer,
right.
like that fight, watching it, it's like when you read that fight, it's just like one panel of him just kind of swinging the sword, and it's just kind of a little thing, and it's like, okay, like in the show, it's like it's meant to be this like the most epic thing that's ever happened, and in the manga, it's like, yeah, it's just not. You don't have the ability, like you don't have the music, you don't have the colors, and the voice acting and everything. So it's like, is that moment strong on its own, or is it just like enhanced by the anime? Because like it's clearly more effective in the anime. So
well,
it's like,
I mean, maybe this is just one of those cases where the anime is better than the manga eventually. You know what I mean? Where, I mean, aren't there adaptations that end up being better than the source material?
Yeah, I think anyone could point to manga that's way stronger than the adaptations, and adaptations that are way stronger than, or at least as strong or enhanced by the anime. Like going back to Berserk for a second, like Berserk's kind of a weird case because for being as like legendary status as it is, it's never gotten like a full proper anime adaptation. Like it got one in the 90s, like in 97, I think, that was only animated one.
Dude, that was a good year.
97?
Yeah. It was.
Where were you at?
I was 10. I was 10 in 97.
Yeah.
It's getting crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. I was in Oakland, California.
Nice. I think I was 6.
Were you in Walnut Creek?
No, I never lived in Walnut Creek.
You were born in Walnut Creek.
Yeah, but then I just drove home to Concord.
As a baby.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was in the car.
Damn. Okay. Your privilege is showing. You were saying?
When you drove home from the hospital, were you like...
I was not allowed to drive when I was a baby. I was a baby.
No, but you were in the car, right?
And also, no, dude. As you know, I was taken to a
orphanage. Well, yeah, but someone had to take you. I'm not saying like
I was probably thrown in a bin of some sort and taken to an orphanage.
Okay.
Where I hung out for a few months.
When I say home, I'm just saying the place that's not. You didn't stay in the hospital for 5 years.
I don't know how long I was there. No.
I don't know how long I was there either. You think I remember?
You just said that you drove home immediately. Like you had your driver pick you up or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I came out and I was like, all right, let's go.
You got that Walnut Creek life. You tell me. All right. Anyway, you're saying I don't even know what we were talking.
I was just saying that like Berserk never got it never got its
just in the animated department in the anime.
Yeah, because in the 90s it got a good adaptation, but it was only of one part and it wasn't the first part. So it was like just one isolated part from within Berserk. And then it got one in 2016 that was like a huge meme that like everyone clowned on because it was like all 3D and it was just not good at all. And it totally went out of order, like of the story.
Gotcha.
It totally skipped over like a whole thing. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's good. I like it to a degree, but yeah, unfortunately, I can't say that I matched with the.
Yeah. Nor would I expect you to, Nathaniel. This is my favorite thing. I don't need my favorite things to be your favorite things.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just glad that you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, then that's another issue.
Yeah, I didn't not enjoy it, but I didn't.
Motherfucker, you just said you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just think that all the I don't. Yes, I enjoy it, but again, I don't think that any of I don't feel that closeness to anyone, to any of the characters. Like I don't really feel the stakes. I don't really feel Tanjiro's like passion, his familial bond with his sister. I don't feel it in my like gut.
Man, and you have your own sister. Like you have a sister of your own. So for you to say that, like,
but I don't. It's just like. It's hard for me in media, in narrative, when you just say here is this person, and trust me, it's the most important person in the world to this person. It's like, okay, I guess I'll take your word for it.
Well, it's not that.
Why can't they talk? Why can't they speak to each other?
What? Who said what they do? What are you talking about?
They don't. They don't talk to each other.
He talks to her all the time.
He talks to her. Why can't she just take that thing out of her mouth and talk to him? They can't. Bloodlust. They could have conversations.
Bloodlust.
I think she's got it under control.
We'll see. I'm sure she'll speak eventually.
Do you have a favorite pillar?
Ooh, man. I mean, aesthetically, I like the thunder pillar. Like, I like that breathing style. But I don't know. I can't say for sure that I have a specific favorite yet. Only because Tomioka, he's got that 11th style, like that he had in his back pocket. So there's so much more to see from all the others that I can't say for sure that I have a clear favorite yet. Why? What's yours?
I don't think I have one.
Okay, cool. Thanks for asking.
I was just curious. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, we're at the end of season 1. You're kind of introduced to all of them briefly, and it's enough to get a gist of what their personality type is. Mm-hmm. You know, they all have their little quirks and stuff. So just based on that, like, again, like I'm not super crazy about like the character designs in general. So aesthetically, I'm not sure that one really like stands out to me, but personality wise, like even in the manga up to the point I'm in, like I've only gotten to know like 2 outside of.
Which 2?
Well, the fire guy.
It would be the flame one, yeah, the fire one
on the train, and then after him it kind of transitions to the guy who has like a lot of the face markings and all the earrings. Oh, the one who says everything is like.
Oh, the serpent one?
What's it? He has like a.
The one who's in the tree, or
no,
the guy with all the scars on his body?
No. The guy who wants to be flamboyant.
Okay, so the flamboyant guy.
All right. So he's kind of the main focus after.
Interesting.
The fire guy. So like, yeah, you do, or at least I have spent time with only them and just gotten like brief glimpses of all the other pillars.
Of the pillars, I mean, I Tomioka, he's the one that seems like the most badass of the pillars. I don't know. But Shinobu also, I love her. She like her whole butterfly thing. Mwah, chef's kiss, love it. It's dope. And the fact that like she poisons the demons that she kills, lit.
Yeah, she's cool. Did you have this problem where like I feel like the facial and just general design of the butterfly pillar and then the younger girl who doesn't talk,
too similar.
They look exactly the same.
Yeah, way too similar.
Like, so
and they're not even related.
Yeah, and there's multiple times where like one would be on screen and not saying anything, and I'm like, wait, who the fuck is this? So that's a weird one for me.
Yeah, and there's that episode that gave her backstory with the older sister, so then it was all 3 of them. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. I mean, this isn't even really related to Demon Slayer, but like backstory is such a weird thing. Like I feel like so many anime are just like, oh, as long as we have like a solid minute and a half of like backstory, like that'll be enough for everyone to like fully be invested and care about this person. It's like it very rarely works on me. Like I need more than just someone
Really?
like just like yeah, because in so many anime it's like, okay, here's some fucking character who you don't know that well, who you could give a shit about, but all of a sudden we're just going to give you like maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes of like sad music and like them just very explicitly saying, this is the way I am, this is what happened to me. You see like a couple things and you're like, oh, that's objectively a sad thing or a rough thing. I guess I'm obligated now to feel.
God damn, you're such a goddamn robot sometimes.
No, like it just, backstory is a real thing and it's effective sometimes, but it's just
I let myself feel it, man. I'm there for the ride, you know. I'm just like, fuck it. Like especially in Demon Slayer when, like, I'll tell you the couple times where it was effective, the the backstory of the demons where it was like some sad crap and it tugs at your heartstrings. The one where they were trapped in the house that kept flipping around where the guy hit the drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, and he was like a writer or whatever, and Tanjiro made sure like he gave a crap about his writing. He saw that the man cared about it, and I don't know, it made me feel better. It I can't explain it, but that one, and then of course the one where he switches his killing strike in the last moment to be a gentle rain in the desert or whatever. You know the one where he's about to like lay waste to this woman who had been the spider demon on the mountain, who had been making everyone her puppets. He's about to like demolish her, and in the last second he sees that she's a woman in pain who had been abused in her afterlife, and he decides to show her mercy in death. And it was beautiful. And it wasn't necessarily the fact that like her backstory was sad. It was the fact that Tanjiro could see in her eyes her sadness and decided he didn't want to, like, he just wanted to put her out of her misery. So
yeah,
it's not necessarily that the backstory is sad. It's that our protagonist's actions are merciful, and that I love that. So
yeah. I just I mean the real last thing I'll say, if I can just, I just think for me personally, I just think there are different, I think they're more effective. I think you can just tell a story naturally and like figure out how to make, I won't say everyone, because clearly it's, you know, it works on you and it works for a lot of people, but like I just appreciate stories that generally just show me in real time why I should care, rather than like, well, maybe I feel like you don't care enough, so we're just going to give you this thing. Like the last thing I'll say about Berserk is that, you know, with Berserk, so Berserk starts and it throws you into Guts's life, like at a certain point in his life, and it lets you spend a lot of time with him at this certain point in life, and it gets to the point where all these questions are in the air of like, who is this guy, what the fuck happened to him, like you know, and the author could have made a solution where he's going to take, you know, a couple chapters to sort of like fill you in on his backstory, but instead it literally transitions and jumps back to the day he was born and literally takes you through every moment of his life up until the beginning of the story where we caught up with him. So it's like 100 chapters of just his entire life. And that's like maybe overkill, but
yeah,
but
I think it might be, Nathaniel.
But I mean, Jesus Christ, like you come out of it like changed.
Yeah,
with
I'm sure.
him.
I'm sure. Yeah, Because that's some Truman Show shit, man. You're living his entire life with him.
Okay, it's not not every second, but like
it's next level, baby.
See, because that wouldn't even be classified as backstory anymore. Because at that point, you're just living his experience with him, and I don't know. Like, I just think I think about all the films that I love. Like, it would be crazy if every movie I watched, there's just like every 10 minutes, there's just this little. They stop and they're like, oh, we're just going to give you, this is how we're going to give you the backstory. It just feels like most of the time it's just an easy, like, here you go. Here's the explanation.
Yeah. I mean, you're kind of picking, I don't know. That seems like such a crucial part of what anime is and the formula to it.
Yeah, but you could also just take you could just take the time to get it across in a different, like, what is everyone rushing for? Like,
are you shitting me? Do we have the time anymore, Nathaniel? No, it's 2020, man. No, everything's burning. We have to watch and consume all media as soon as we get it and as quickly as possible.
Well, then just tell a shorter story, I guess. Like, why do I need to care about the demons then? Like, if this is the way that I need to care, then like maybe I don't want to care about the demons. You don't
necessarily have to care about the demons. That's up to you.
Well, I can't make myself care about anything. Like, it just has to happen. So, yeah, I don't know. These are just, hey, it's just, this is my life. I don't know. That's how I live.
Hey, we're just talking about Demon Slayer, baby. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that was our conversation on Demon Slayer.
I'm glad we finally had it.
Yeah, I'm happy that.
I feel like I just had like a colonic.
Yeah. I feel about the same that I did going into it.
Nice.
But yeah, man, I mean, it sounds like the experience you had with Demon Slayer season 1 was the experience that I had with JoJo Part 7.
Oh, so that is your favorite JoJo?
Spoiler alert, everyone. Part 7 is my favorite JoJo part. Wow. And one of my favorite things ever.
Huh. Damn.
But unfortunately,
okay, well, I mean,
unfortunately, it's not animated, so.
Well, shit.
But yeah,
I'll never experience it.
We don't need to get into that today. But yeah, for anyone, I guess, wondering, listening, who's like a JoJo fan, it's an easy answer for me. Part 7, Steel Ball Run. That's it. That's it for me. But I mean,
I'm going to hedge my bets and say part 4 for me.
You know, honestly, if I had to guess of parts 1 through 5, what would be your favorite, I would have guessed part 4.
No way.
But I could totally be wrong. I have no idea. I don't want to say anything about what part 4 is, but
yeah, no, me neither. I like that as an early prediction, though.
Yeah.
We'll throw that in the stars.
Yeah, I'll make that an easy prediction. I mean, it's your blind prediction, but
yeah, part 4.
Okay, part 4. Diamond is unbreakable.
I dig that.
Okay, so we're not talking about part 4 or part 7 today. We're going to jump into the first 3 episodes of Battle Tendency, which is part 2. So basically, we had recorded episode 10 back in the day. So the episode 10 discussion we're about to have, we recorded a while ago. But then right after that, we're going to jump into 11 and 12, and those we're recording for the first time, if that makes sense. So it's going to go to 10 as a pre-recording, and then 11 and 12 is us right now. So right now you're going to hear 10, and then you'll hear us for 11. What?
How many times are you going to say the same thing?
Well, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Episode 10, our first milestone. My name's Nathaniel Garofalo, and I'm joined, as always, but from another part of the world this week, my co-host,
Dom Esclovon. Hello, everyone. Hello, Dom Taraj. I couldn't be in studio today, but, we're still bringing you the show.
Yeah, you're recording from some sort of bunker somewhere, right?
Yeah, I'm staying safe.
Right. But yeah, as always, every week we are just going to jump right into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's still technically season 1, but this is episode 10, which means we are done with Phantom Blood and we have moved on to part 2, which is Battle Tendency. I mean, before we, or I guess you want me to do the
Please do, yeah. Give us
the synopsis,
a rundown or synopsis, yeah.
All right. I like to go just off the cuff on these synopsi for JoJo.
Okay.
But essentially, we are thrust 49 years after the events of Phantom Blood to the fall of 1938. We are in the West, in America, in New York. We are following the grandson of Jonathan Joestar, named Joseph Joestar.
I had a couple questions already, Nathaniel.
Right.
I got some questions.
All right.
Or should I hold them?
No. Let's just jump into it.
No. Finish your synopsis. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I guess to finish it off, in another part of the world, our boy Speedwagon is back. He's an oil tycoon now. And he is leading an expedition with an old face from Phantom Blood into these Aztec ruins in Mexico to basically
destroy it, right?
Yeah, he basically finds a man encased in a stone pillar, surrounded by just countless of the stone masks that caused the events of Phantom Blood. So that's basically all the dominoes set up, and then we can get into the nitty-gritty. But what's your question? I'm eager to hear your high-level thoughts on...
Well, not high-level thoughts. I was just wondering, like, it's wild to me that they skip over Jonathan's son, the one that Irina was carrying with her, like, in her belly or whatever, and then we meet JoJo,
right?
Or Joseph. You know, so I'm wondering, like, one, do we ever meet Joseph's father at all? Or do we ever see him? Would that be like a huge spoiler?
I mean, I can tell you, but it's
hard. It's hard to do this without like seeing your face, because usually I can see you and
right.
know, like, okay, I'll wait. I'll figure that out later. But like now I can't. So
right.
There are just certain things that I'm gonna have to deal with.
All I'll say is that it will be touched on. It's not just going to be some thing just left. I don't know how satisfying or not satisfying it will be, but they're not just going to totally leave George Joestar completely out of the picture forever.
Oh, so that was who Jonathan named his son, or Irina named his son after his father? George?
Yeah, so I guess he would be George Joestar the second.
Okay.
But yeah, Joseph's father is named George Joestar, and he was a pilot, I think they said.
Okay, yeah. They said he died in the war or some shit.
Yeah.
He was a soldier.
But while we're on the topic of JoJo's parents, you caught, I think it was Smokey, who's a new character who
Smokey.
We'll get into in a
Hey, what the fuck, man?
What?
Okay, we'll get into it in a minute.
What? All right.
We'll get into it in a minute.
All right. But yeah, with Joseph's parents, George Joestar, a pilot. But if you caught on this, it was a line by Smokey at some point, I think like midway or a little past the midway point in the episode, but that Joseph's mother is the baby that Irina saved.
I did not catch that.
Yeah.
I didn't. Whoa. Okay, cool, because that was going to be my other question, was like, whatever happened to that baby?
Yeah, so that's Joseph's mother.
Whoa.
And
okay, cool.
Yeah, it's sort of in this first episode, it's kind of left ambiguous what happened to both of his parents, but it's clear that neither of them are in the picture. We know George Joestar is dead. I don't know if they exactly said what happened to the mother, but
they said she died of illness.
Oh, okay.
But I'm wondering, so like, I'm assuming at some point we get some backstory. So George the second and Joseph's mother, were they raised together, like Dio and Jonathan?
This is actually, I don't quite remember, honestly.
Okay.
I'm assuming right now that they probably were.
Huh. It's pretty fucking gross, man.
I mean, maybe like in similar circles. I don't know that they were raised as brother and sister.
All right.
But
until then, that's the head.
There's probably a better answer for that. But yeah, I actually don't remember.
I would hope so. Okay. Cool. So yes, where were we?
I mean, that was just touching on that one little detail, but I don't know what. I mean, the first thing we get?
Shit, man.
The first thing we get is Old Speedwagon. What's your
Old Man Speedwagon? I was hyped. Oh, it was so fucking cool to see him just pop up and have it like, this.
Yeah, the first thing we get is just the echo of his cane on the ground. Yeah, he's got a hat.
This show fucks with me so hard too because like they know how much I love Speedwagon. I think in your creator, what's his name again? I can't pronounce it.
Araki.
Araki.
Yeah, I mean technically, yeah, Araki. That's how you'd pronounce it in the West, I guess. Araki.
How do you pronounce it in the East?
I mean his full name would be Araki Hidehiko.
Jesus, that's a mouthful. Okay, Araki. Anyway, he knows how to pull at your heartstrings, and the way to fucking do it is to open up the story with like Old Man Speedwagon, because your heart, I can't explain it. This dude is everything, and he fucking kills him. He ends Speedwagon instantly, almost. Like, what the fuck?
Are you talking about
I can't.
Straits?
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate a creator who will come up with like beloved characters and kill them off, but I just wasn't ready for it. I honestly wasn't.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought this Speedwagon, I thought Old Man Speedwagon was gonna like take the young new JoJo under his wing, and like they would go on a new adventure.
Right. I mean, we do kind of know that. I mean, taking him under his wing, that he was like that. Basically, Speedwagon and his grandmother Erina, were basically the only like family he has. Yeah,
that's true. And well, is it a spoiler to say whether or not we'll get more flashbacks peppered in throughout?
Flashbacks of like young Joseph?
Yeah, young Joseph and Speedwagon taking care of him. Because I did enjoy that flashback on the plane. I thought it was pretty dope.
Yeah, that's another thing that I don't remember. I really don't remember.
Really?
I want to say that we probably don't, but there might be something in there. Because things are really the plot's really going to start to get rolling pretty quick.
You're telling
me. I
mean,
it's already rolling pretty quick, but
yeah, man, I was howling out here watching this fucking episode.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. But yeah, I mean, we should really start to get into Jonathan. I mean, the first kind of scene we get of him is he's
buying a soda.
Tourist in the street, basically buying a soda. This scrappy young kid, Smokey.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. So is he gonna be the new Joe Bro?
Do you want me to tell you?
I mean, come on. Is it that much of a spoiler? It's kind of obvious. He keeps narrating everything, and I don't know. He's like JoJo's. He's hanging out with JoJo and Erina. Don't tell me if he dies or anything like right away, but he seems like he's gonna be JoJo's new Joe Bro. That's what he seems like.
Right. Do you want me to confirm or deny if Smokey is the battle tendency Joe Bro?
God damn it. Don't confirm or deny. I want to be surprised.
All right.
I want to see the progression of the story.
Right.
I do appreciate you not saying when I asked, hey, is there any Joe Bro similar to me? You didn't pick the black one and just say, oh yeah, that one. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. You're an ally.
Sure. That honestly didn't even enter my mind.
I saw him and I was like, oh shit, a black character.
Right. Well, just to take another quick aside before we get to Joseph, something interesting. The most interesting difference from the manga to the anime is that the cop characters, even though they do the same, they treat. I mean, everything that happens is the same when they
still wipe boogers on JoJo and fuck up Smokey.
All that stuff too, but like before Joseph shows up, they're like extremely like not only that they stop to like mess with him, but like verbally, like super racist to Smokey. And I guess they just, for the adaptation's sake, just to make it a little less intense, I guess, cut those lines out. I mean,
they had it again in the diner or the restaurant later on.
Yeah.
So I guess it would, hey, I appreciated even like peppering it in. I thought it was pretty good that they did that, because I was thinking like, okay, 1938 New York. I know this is anime and everything, but I thought it would still just be like chill that Smokey was out and about, and I was kind of surprised that someone said something to him and like brought race into it. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, it does definitely go like a couple steps further in the manga, but yeah, I mean, David Productions definitely left that in there. Well, I'm not sure how much of it is David Productions or just the translation, like just them slightly changing the subtitles. So I'm not sure about that, but yeah, it's definitely like more amplified. But yeah, I mean, Araki's pretty, especially as the parts go on, like he's pretty not afraid to add his social commentary.
Yeah, I wrote my notes, police brutality on a young black man in 1938, as relevant as ever. You hate to see it.
But all right, I mean, just to like Joseph, I mean, the first kind of thing we see before he really gets 2 lines out, he just clocks this police officer right in the face.
Yeah, after he gets boogers smushed on his face, like I'll give it to him, because everyone says it in this episode that JoJo doesn't really have any self-control and yada yada yada, and I get it, but he's in a couple of these situations where they're like, fuck, he couldn't control himself. I'm like, I don't blame him.
Sure.
Someone smears boogers on my face, I'm fucking your shit up. Someone hijacks my plane, I'm crashing the fucking plane.
No, yeah, definitely. No, yeah, but I guess, right. But I guess just in terms of like, Araki wanted that to be like the first like sense of his character for us. Like this is definitely
a different contrast.
It's a different, definitely a different JoJo than John.
Yeah, definitely. I picked up on that immediately, and I was into it.
Right. So that's his first kind of display of anger, but yeah, he gets a couple more. What are your notes looking like?
Well, I just said that I loved his Coca-Cola pose after he used the Hamon energy to shoot the bottle cap off of the bottle and crush the cop's finger. He poses and just it was beautiful, and it really fucking it sent me, as they say these days. But it was just basically that the cops, they were monsters. It finally spelled out for me that Jonathan was, or JoJo was Jonathan's grandson, because they didn't explicitly say it immediately. So I knew he was a Joestar, but I didn't know that he was like the grandson. I was thinking that maybe we would see Jonathan's son. Do you have any idea why they decided to skip a generation?
I don't know if there's like an explicit explanation out there for it. It might have been just because Araki wanted the. Well, maybe, but I guess I'm not sure if the first thing he wanted to do was like definitely set it in the 30s. Because if he definitely wanted it to be like the late 30s, then you kind of have no choice. Otherwise,
right. Yeah, we're watching an old dude.
The JoJo would have been 50 something.
True. But I mean, Straitso looked pretty good for 50 something. Or no, wait, he was 70 something, right?
Yeah, but he practices Hamon.
That's true. and George too didn't have any Hamon.
Yeah, so it basically just skipped a generation. I mean, this may or may not be the first or last generational skip.
Okay, fair enough.
The like I'll say this now, like the Joestars are not every Joestar is
Hamon,
quote unquote special enough.
Okay. Sort of like with Luke and Leia, where like Luke had all the Force, but Leia really didn't.
I don't know what to do about these Star Wars
Accept
references.
them, I guess.
You've found a way to weasel them in to every episode thus far. Almost every episode.
I don't know what to tell
Yes, you know what? Yeah, yes, absolutely. It is absolutely 100% like Luke and Leia.
Huh. Okay, cool. Moving on.
The Vader family.
Is that what we're going to call them? I thought they were the Skywalkers.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
See that? I mean, Skywalker, Joestar, both in the sky and space. It's kind of, it's right there, all the parallels. So as far as cosplay goes, next summer for like Comic-Con, are you going as JoJo and I'm going as Smokey? Is that what we're doing?
If you want, yeah.
Hey man,
I guess
we need some promo shots for the podcast. We should think about that.
I mean, that's true. I mean, Joseph wouldn't be my first choice in terms of JoJo characters to cosplay as.
I'm just going based off skin, so I don't have to like do anything different. I can just put on a yellow jacket.
All right. Well, I guess we can talk about it. I was thinking that if we ever did a promo shoot like for the podcast, that like I could do, there's like a million JoJo poses to choose from, but I felt like your pose could be that, we talked about it early on, it's that like hands in the pockets, like One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
You know, like the shoulders
Hunched.
up by your ears.
Yeah.
The kind of like hunched thing. I feel like that'd be good for you.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll think about that. All right. Cool. What were we gonna say?
I mean, I was just gonna get into the whole Straitso thing.
Yeah, let's get into it, because that interested me, because they didn't give him much in Phantom Blood, so his betrayal wasn't like, oh my god, Straitso, but the fact that he ended Speedwagon, that's what really pissed me off, is like the lack of ceremony around Speedwagon's death. It was pretty fucking quick and pained me so.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Straitso, I don't know. Again, I don't know if there's like some answer out there for like why it was Straitso. I guess it's just, I mean, if I had to guess, it would just be he's even though he wasn't a super significant player in Phantom Blood, he's I guess from a story angle, I mean, he survived. They said that he surpassed Tom Petty.
True.
And that he would be someone who, of all the people that Speedwagon could call upon from his past, I mean, why wouldn't the Master of Hamon be the best guy to call to take care of?
I know, it just
like
bummed me out, man.
a secret like this. Yeah,
I wasn't ready.
I'm sorry for your.
So quick too. I mean, shit. You lose JoJo, you lose Jonathan, you lose Speedwagon. We've lost so many people.
Yeah, the body count's been high, but I mean, he before Speedwagon, he just like cut down those 5 other guys. And just, like, with nothing.
That was ill.
Pretty cool though.
I was shocked. That really like I was like, oh shit. So I have a question about the animation style. I'm watching it now, and I see that it like with the Hamon and everything, like when he shoots the bottle cap off, like there's like some different style choices in the animation. Is that what I'm to expect going forward? Like different like little variations on the art?
Can you be more specific?
Yeah.
You mean like colors?
Yeah. Like these extreme colors and like these freezes that we weren't really seeing in Phantom Blood. Like when he does the Hamon thing on the soda pop, maybe it's just because it's carbonated, but like, I don't know, it's coming out all super slow-mo and it's very stylized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, with JoJo, it's like, look, I'm not like an anime expert or anything. I haven't seen like that many like different series all when it's all said and done. But with JoJo, it's interesting because they're animating. David Productions is animating a manga that's literally been going on for since the 80s, and they do the best they can and like a really incredible job to match Araki's art style from part to part, because part Phantom Blood compared to part 8 is like night and day. You would have no idea that it's the same artists in the same series even. So with each part that goes there, not so much, because I think Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency were done like super close together, so they, of all the parts, they have the most similar art style to one another. But aside from that, David Productions does mess with color a lot, like, and animation styles too. I mean in these airplane shots, I think those were in 3D, like the outside airplane in that flashback. When the plane
No,
was,
I know what
like,
you're talking about. I'm just trying to like
the outside shots of the plane.
Yeah. I'm scrolling to it right now, actually.
But yeah, I mean, they definitely take some liberties with stylizing certain things that aren't necessarily like that, and like there's some pretty straightforward stuff in the manga that they really like. For example, I mean, just in terms of color stuff and style too, like if you read the Phantom Blood manga, it's a lot of it's pretty straightforward. Like, Jonathan has just brown hair. He's just like a normal guy. And in Phantom Blood, the anime, Jonathan has purple hair.
Yeah.
And you do get a couple of those like freezes with a bunch of different like colors kind of all around and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the colors and the animation style, it's a flexible thing. JoJo's as a whole is not like the most consistent, but not consistent in a good way.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of experimentation.
That's what I was hoping for. I see like these quick cuts and like these splashes of color that, like I said, I wasn't really seeing a lot of in Phantom Blood for the most part. And I think it's just maybe the story it allows for it a little bit more. I don't know. I'm just seeing a little bit more of it, and I dig it.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of the story, I mean, just the character of Jonathan is much more... I mean, he's played for comedy a lot of the time. So it is a lot lighter in places. Just in terms of like the levity that Jonathan or Joseph brings, as a character, I think
Joseph's a wild motherfucking dude.
It brightens up the show in ways that I think was needed from Phantom Blood.
Yeah, I do appreciate Joseph's like wild streak, but at the same time, he's been put in these fucked up situations that, like, I don't know, extreme measures they need to be taken, and I kind of side with him on it. I did like Speedwagon's thought to himself after he saw JoJo like crash the plane. He said he may have his grandfather's face, but he's far from a gentleman. Yeah,
definitely. And I think that's in my notes somewhere. Or yeah, that exact line is actually in there. Yeah. But yeah, another thing that we got when Joseph was in the restaurant defending Smokey's honor.
Oh yeah, Arena. What do you when
that like huge spiky haired gangster was messing with Smokey, and we got, this was your first taste of Joseph doing your next line is, and then saying what
is that like
the person's gonna say.
What the fuck, man? He was doing that a lot. Is that just his thing?
mean, yeah, you got to get used to it. It's kind of his thing a little bit.
Okay.
Is predicting the enemy's line.
Okay. Why?
And messing with it's head games, man.
Head games. Okay, but it's just, why do people play along with it? I would just be like, nah, that's okay, whatever.
I think for the most part it catches people off guard, but
it reminds.
Exactly
I know it came first. I know this came first, but it reminds me of that shitty Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movie. Because that's exactly what Sherlock Holmes would like. RDJ as Sherlock Holmes, they would get into a fight and he would list everything he was gonna do, and then he would do it, and then people are like, "Oh shit, that's interesting." It wasn't that interesting. I don't know. That's a nitpick.
I mean, that's lame. That movie sucks.
Okay,
like, this is like you don't find it charming?
Not yet.
It's not. I don't think it's supposed to be cool necessarily. I think it's just a funny thing that he does.
Okay. I mean, it came off more annoying because I was like, just do the things. I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So you're not into
not yet.
Your next line is okay.
Not yet. I mean,
all right.
Is it supposed to hit me quick and I'm supposed to be like all about it? Because, yeah, nah.
I don't know that you're supposed to be all about it. I'm just saying that this is like, I'm just warning you now if you're not on board that it's you got to either get on board or you just got to deal with it.
I'm going to deal with it. I'm not on board just yet. I didn't know that I needed to be on board with it like the first time he does it in the episode.
No, I'm just pointing it out for the audience.
Okay. All right.
That we get our first your line is. But I will say as a tease for just the general future, there might be an interesting explanation. I don't know. I don't want to say too much, but it's not just a cheap kind of gag.
Gotcha.
There is, but you might have to wait a while to get more about it. I know that's super vague.
No, I'm fine with that. That's cool.
So yeah, it's not just a cheap thing. There is kind of an interesting thing down the line about it, but hopefully I'll remember to bring that up when the time comes. But
was there a time jump at all in this episode? Because Smokey has a ponytail at one point that he didn't have earlier on.
Really?
Yeah, I noticed like
from when
like
to
when he first snatches JoJo's wallet, no ponytail, but when he's getting into the cab with Arena and JoJo later on, ponytail. Like when they're all fancy and they're going to the restaurant, Smokey's got a ponytail. What's the deal?
I did not notice that. As far as I know, this was just like a day or two or a couple days. I don't think there was any significant time jump. That must just be like a weird animation.
That's wild. Yeah, I was wondering like what the fuck is the deal with the ponytail, because he sure shit didn't have one early on. He was just walking around the city, ponytailless.
Well, that is actually kind of interesting because I don't remember seeing a ponytail, but in the manga, the first time you see Smokey walk up, he looks like a dude, like a straight up like man.
Wait, Smokey's not a man?
No, he's a man, but I mean, like in the manga, he looks like he's almost as tall as JoJo. Yeah, he looks like a full-grown like man, and I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" But then, like a couple panels later, it kind of switches. Yeah, so I don't know.
I did appreciate Arena being an ally to my people. I gotta throw that out there because JoJo was worried that he was gonna upset his grandmother, and Arena was like, "No, I heard what that motherfucker said. Do damage." And I was like, "What's up? That's what's up."
Right.
And she was like, "But be mindful of everyone around you." I was like, "All right, that's what's up."
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, she, even though their relationship was brief, she is the wife of Jonathan, and I think we all know that Jonathan would not stand for
God, no. Jonathan would have put his fucking fist through that guy's head instantly. I love this. I love everything about the Joestar family. Good stuff.
Oh yeah. But yeah, we got Straight So going on. We talked about the flashback. We talked about Joseph, Smokey, Arena's back, Speedwagon's
I think
back.
I don't know how to feel about JoJo because it was because of the fucking narration thing. Like I wrote that in my notes.
Smokey's
no.
narration?
JoJo's narration with this is what you're gonna say now and this is what you're gonna do next. That's when I wrote in my notes, I don't know how I feel about JoJo. I wasn't a fan of it. But he he redeemed himself.
I didn't how with the ending?
100 fucking percent with that goddamn ending.
Yeah, I want to cover this last. Okay. But yeah, man. Well, I mean, let's just get into it now. Yeah, man, I love this ending.
This ending was fucking insane. Like,
yeah,
okay, fine.
yeah.
The mafia guys are giving JoJo some information or whatever. Then what happens? They go to like some diner days later.
Yeah, they're just yeah, this might be the same night. This might be a couple nights later, but yeah, Smokey and JoJo are just hanging out at this diner talking about breast enhancement, like stuff in a magazine. And from outside the window, Joseph sees a mysterious young figure, someone who he probably has never seen before, but he kind of walks out and he's like circling this mysterious guy who we can tell is young Straight.
Yeah, but he's asking like the weirdest question. Well, not the weirdest questions, but like very leading questions. If you know a vampire.
Yeah, I mean, he walks out and he's like, "Do we know each other?" He's like, "I thought from inside it didn't seem like your breath produced any." Breath, like I couldn't see your breath in the cold, and I thought maybe I saw some things under your
maybe some
under
things.
your mouth.
I don't know. Was there something sticking out of there? And this whole time I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this idiot? Why is he doing all this? And it just didn't make any sense to me. And then this motherfucker unleashes a goddamn Tommy gun. And riddles Straight-So with bullets. I mean, shoots that motherfucker full of holes. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and he blasts right into the restaurant with like no care about reckless anyone abandon.
It's full of people and his new ally, and he's like, fuck all that. I'm killing this motherfucker. This is day one of our war.
Yeah, and I love Smokey's dialogue of just like, where did he even get that Tommy gun?
And he had it the whole time while they were like sitting there, and he was cool as shit. Didn't say a word about it.
Yeah, I think he knew that Straight-So was coming at some point. He should just have a Tommy gun on his person,
strapped up. This JoJo, this is what I've been waiting for. So like, I wasn't 100% sold on this particular JoJo until the last shot. And if this is what we have more to come, like if he's just gonna be wrecking shit every which way, I'm down for it.
I mean, that's kind of part of Joseph's MO is, I mean, he's gonna get the job done, but it might be messy.
I'm into that. Okay, cool. I mean, I love.
All right, I'm glad. Yeah, I wasn't expecting the your next line is to be such a thing for you.
It's that whole show don't tell, you know, like it would impress me more if he had done the moves in the fight and like, I don't know, grab the brass knuckles from the guy's pocket or said.
Oh wait, so you're talking more about the just him like saying, "Oh, your brass knuckles are in your back pocket" thing?
That whole scene. What I'm talking about is like, you're gonna say this, and then your thing is here because of this, and it's like, okay, cool, you can deduce all that shit, but what? We're wasting time. Let's get to it. It's just sort of. Well, I don't know.
I mean, that's a little more interesting, just because I'm specifically just talking about the gag of your next line is like just that part of it. Like in terms of him saying, "Oh, your brass knuckles are in your back pocket instead of your front," and like this and that, like I could be wrong, but I don't remember that being like a thing. Like a recurring thing. I could totally be wrong, but the joke of your next line is a thing we'll see again. But like in terms of him like saying, "Oh, you're physically going to do this or that," like I don't remember that really being a huge part of it.
Then that I'm hyped for that. Then
I might be wrong, but I see that complaint.
Word.
Okay, more.
That's fair. Cool.
Something from the one little thing that they left out from the anime that was in the manga was there was right before it gets back to like before Straight-So kills Speedwagon, we get a glimpse into Speedwagon's diary. That's sort of him talking more about the stone mask and the man encased in stone. and it basically says that this is the ultimate life form, that the man in the pillar is over 2,000 years old. The man can live like birds, can be like fish, and breathe like trees. The man cannot run under the sun. That's why he created the stone mask. But one day when he befriends the sun, the world will be his.
When he befriends the sun.
So, yeah. So it's just kind of there's some pretty important stuff in there for what's to come. Yeah. But yeah, these men in stone are kind of going to be the main mystery moving forward.
Interesting. Okay. So Dio, or not Dio, but Straizo is like this part's big bad.
Do you want me to say?
Nathaniel, come on, man. I mean...
What? Do you want me to say or do you not want me to say?
Well, that would be like if I asked you if Dio was going to be the big bad. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Just don't fucking tell me.
Whatever's obvious to you is what... Okay,
God
all right.
damn it. Piece of shit.
All right, well, I guess do you want to get into the rankings?
Let's get into the rankings. Hell of a start, by the way. Great opener for this part. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the rankings for this episode are a little hard because, like, the fights, like how would you, in terms of JoJo and fights, like what we think of a fight in JoJo?
Well, see, I've only seen 9 episodes or 10 up until this point.
Yeah. I guess it's an unfair question to ask. But like just in terms of the ending, that wasn't necessarily a fight.
No, it wasn't. But it was a great fucking, I don't know.
But it was a violent moment. Like with that moment, if I could convert that into a fight, I might give it a 9.
That's what I would do.
But if we can't,
that's what I would definitely do.
All right,
you need to start grading like me if you're gonna make it in this world, kid.
All right. So then if we're counting that moment, it definitely gets a 9.
Okay.
For fights. And for characters, I'm also giving it a 9 just because I feel like they did a good job of giving us a pretty full picture, not the whole picture, but as full of a picture as possible of who Joseph is.
I would agree with that.
I think.
But not only that, it just to add on to that, it just sets up the new world that we're in pretty well too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even in this short episode, I think they're really doing Arena justice because she was just kind of she was definitely just kind of a whatever side character. And she really has a lot of, even though she didn't have a ton of screen time here, she's got a lot of characters. She's definitely
I definitely agree with that.
Over the years.
I was going to say I felt more connected to Arena now than I did when she was younger.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think, I would say most people would probably agree with that. Outfits, nothing super special here. Just kind of like pretty traditional 1930s-ish. Like a heightened 1930s kind of
a lot of
style.
Newsboy
A couple
caps.
people was this would actually probably be lower if it weren't for just us getting a glimpse of the Stone Man's kind of garb, because that's some of my favorite stuff. But we'll might see more of that later. But outfits at a 7. Setting, I enjoy this at least initial New York setting. It's different enough. I mean, I don't know. Like the whole Phantom Blood setting, like it's cool for a bit, but I don't know how much I love the like old English countryside. And there was just a lot of castles and mansions.
Yeah, I don't care about that shit. I love like old timey shit, but like I'm talking old timey and like ragtime, like 20s, 30s type of thing. So I'm into the 1938 thing.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, so that's the setting. And development, I have it at a solid 8. They really start things off strong here. They put a lot of questions in the hat, so you're not you get a sense of where it's probably gonna head, but it's not so ambiguous that it's like, where are we going? What are we doing? Like they drop enough into the hat that you're like, I see multiple pathways heading here. So that is, let's see. So that's 41 points for JoJo.
That's pretty good. And you know what?
It had a strong opener.
Earned it.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, so that was. I think that was the longest JoJo segment thus far.
I mean,
and my notes were a lot longer here than they had been previously.
I don't know about mine being longer, but I felt more connected to this episode. I'll say that.
Definitely. I mean, I think I definitely struggled a bit with Phantom Blood, just in like there already with starting Battle Tendency. Like I feel like there's more to chew on now, a little bit in a sense than with the majority of Phantom Blood.
All right, so shit, man. Episode what? 11?
Yeah, episode 11 of Battle Tendency, The Game Master.
I mean, do can we have like a fluid discussion? Does it have to necessarily be like episode 11, Game Master, and then episode 12, the Pillar Man?
We're talking. I mean, okay, you want to talk about the ending of episode 12 first?
No, I just want to talk, man.
We're talking. We're just talking. What are you talking about? We're talking. We're talking right now.
Yeah. We're talking right now.
All right. Okay. Do you have what are your high level thoughts on?
I mean, I got
11?
some notes. I'll check. I got some notes. But if you wanted to give an intro to episode 11, that'd be cool. You throw that in there.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I guess episode 11 is basically the immediate aftermath of the confrontation between Straitso and Joseph in the diner after his Tommy gun attack. Just firing blindly on citizens. So yeah, I mean, basically,
I said in my notes that Straitso gets straight to the point. But little rim shot there for me.
That's true.
Post.
It's funny and true.
Yeah, because he pops in there, and after JoJo riddles him with bullets, he gets up and he's like, I'm not here to fuck around. Dio was all about finding out what he could do with his powers. I don't care what I can do. I'm going to kill you, and then I'll find out later.
Yeah, I do like this about Straitso, where this is kind of his philosophy of like, and because it's interesting too, and he brings it up, is that he's a vampire who was a Haman master, so he knows all the tricks of Haman. But yeah, generally his philosophy of like Dio was too like flamboyant and too like up his own ass. But that philosophy didn't really work out for Straitso.
No, unfortunately, because JoJo, this new JoJo, he's about that life in a different type of way. To the point where, like, where the fuck did he get all those grenades, man? Like,
yeah,
the one, like, hold on, what was that move that Straitso had? Space Ripper Stingy Eyes?
Oh, right. I didn't write that down.
No, you should have, because we got to put that on the list of, like, whack names for special moves. Do they have more of those throughout JoJo? Because Space Ripper Stingy Eyes is top tier bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, every character, especially going forward, every character's got their goddamn like special moves, and they can't just do the move without telling you what it's called. Like it's a
I
very
love it.
Yeah, it's just the way. It's just how they live their life.
I'm not mad at it. It's very like all of this is very extra. It's like turn to 11, all their fights, and I dig it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be honestly, if this existed in real life, I mean, it probably wouldn't like benefit anyone, because the opponent would like know what's coming. Like,
what, narrating the way that JoJo does?
Well, just like generally, like if people were in a fist fight on the street, if someone was just like forward normal punch and like before they
doing that,
without just throwing the punch, if you like verbally announce,
you don't call out
move.
Please don't announce your moves before you do your moves. You're telegraphing them. You're literally telling you what you're doing.
It only really benefits like the onlookers of the fight.
The only way that's beneficial is if you do the exact opposite of whatever you shout that you're going to do.
Right. Yeah, why don't they do that?
They should, and I hope JoJo does, but he never seems to have to because he's so fucking clever.
But also
throughout. Oh yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say also in the same like way, like these names are completely made up. Like no one knows what this move is gonna be.
Yeah.
Like
that's
so
also the thing.
It's not even like normal humans. Like we wouldn't. There's nothing we could say unless we just named our normal punches something insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one would know what the hell we're talking about
until we actually did it and saw some wild shit.
But yeah, I mean, so this fight between the two of them is the main fight of the episode.
So tell me, is this what I think you said it in episode 10? But this is basically JoJo's shtick, right? Where he tells you where you fucked up during the fight, and he outsmarts you before you get a chance to like really lay a hand on him, because he does this to Straightso a couple times. He like flips a mirror in front of him or something.
Yeah, so yeah, Straightso like blasts him pretty quickly with like a shot to the forehead and a shot in the neck with
a stingy super eye beams or ripper eyes, whatever they're fucking called.
And instead of the mirror cracking like a mirror,
right?
It looks like pierced flesh, but aside from that, yes, somehow Straightso is staring at a mirror and can't see through the mirror, just sees black, assumes it makes absolutely no sense, and it there's no point in trying to like critique it really, because it's it's batshit crazy. I mean, I can't defend it. If anyone wants to defend it, I can't do it.
There is no defense, and I don't think we are here to defend JoJo or his bizarre adventure. I feel like if you pitch it to anyone, or maybe even just this part, I feel like this JoJo is like the Nicolas Cage of JoJo's, because he's on a different level. His want for destruction and mayhem seems to be off the charts.
Yeah, well, I could compare him to a video game character that I know you wouldn't be familiar with, but he's very
much... Why would you do that?
Well, for anyone listening, maybe he's like Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series, a PlayStation series.
So he's like a roguish, like devil may care type guy.
Yeah. I mean, the character of Nathan Drake, he gets himself into the most precarious and just dangerous situations imaginable, and he just survives on complete dumb luck. Like he's a pretty smart guy, but like his charm and his luck just carry him through the worst danger ever. So I feel like Joseph is definitely like that. Like he comes, like it seems like he's prepared on some level. Like he came in with a Tommy gun and grenades.
Yeah, he brought in those grenades and that Tommy gun. And, I mean, he survived after he ran away.
Yeah, and I want to get to that. But, yeah, I mean, he essentially... I think when things go wrong, and it seems like they always go wrong for Joseph, he just adapts on the fly.
Yeah, I will say in my notes here that JoJo, he had a couple sick burns. One of them being that he called Straightso Straightsof.
Right.
Oof, the wordplay, I love it. But I also wanted to point out the drip that Straightso had with the Beatles scarf. What was that? What was that? Can you talk to me more about that armor scarf that he had, that Hammond scarf?
I don't know that I know anything more about it.
You're supposed to have all the info. What the fuck?
I mean, like, I don't know if that's on like the JoJo wiki or anything.
Dude, you're dropping the ball here. I'm supposed to come in with the questions. You're supposed to come back with the knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, the Beatles scarf, man. I don't know.
The Beatles scarf drip. We got people with questions. They want to know.
I can like try and like do some on the fly research.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So it's basically a scarf that redistributes Haman energy or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, basically how he described it, it was, he's like, oh, it said that there's an insect in Southeast Asia called the Satiporoja beetle. I wrote it down.
You wrote that down.
Yeah, and they said there's 30,000 of their tiny stomachs have been dried out and I guess woven into the scarf somehow. And their bodies conduct Haman better than humans. And then after that, you know, he said that he studied 4,000 years worth of Haman research, way more than Dio ever had. So you'd think that he could survive longer and be more prepared.
You would think.
But I mean, also in this, like, on that same note, like, you know, he is very prepared for Haman, but like Joseph doesn't just rely on Haman.
Yeah, that's true. He was just prepared to have a straight up Haman on Haman fight. JoJo brought a lot more to the battle, and I mean, what was his finishing move? Can you talk about that? His last little, how he defeated him
in the cafe?
No, not in the cafe. I thought we were talking about the fight on the bridge. Yeah,
the bridge now.
We're all over the place, man. It's fluid.
Yeah, well, so when they're on the bridge, Joseph basically, when they were in the cafe, Straizo aimed for his forehead or his head area generally, and Joseph knew that or predicted that he'd probably do that again, and so he held up a Haman infused shot glass that he had in his back pocket, I guess, and held it up, and it just went redirected in and right back out in like a laser beam, and then I believe that was the final blow, right?
Yeah, so it wasn't the grenades, it wasn't the Tommy gun, it wasn't all that shit. It was a fucking shot glass. JoJo.
Yeah, I mean, shot glasses, I guess, didn't exist back in late 1800s London or whatever.
I guess not. So, every episode I find something disturbing, and in this episode, it had to be Straizo with his fingers in that woman's mouth, where he kept, like, he damn near had, it was, like, to his palm, he had going down there before he ripped a tooth out. Because it was, I don't know, it was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Is she coming back, this woman? Is she going to be the love interest for this generation's JoJo?
No.
Oh, that's a lot of time to spend on that broad.
I mean, I'll say...
And I say that, like, jokingly, of course.
Yeah, I mean, something that I'll say about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as a series, I don't think I'd classify this as a spoiler, but the relationship between Irina and Jonathan is one of the rare instances of romance.
Oh, okay. So it's not series. Like every JoJo has a chick, like a main woman love interest.
Yeah,
okay.
It's definitely not a thing. So yeah, but that lady, maybe she like pops up in some weird thing, but yeah, she's not like a... Sorry to burst everyone's bubble out there. I know she was the fan favorite of this episode, but yeah, no, I don't think she shows back up. Maybe in some like weird little thing, but I don't remember. So I have this written down. I wanted to get your take on like at the beginning of the fight in the cafe, what was your take on Joseph approaching the crying women and telling them to shut up? He was like, shut up, I'm trying to think. And he says, if you don't stop crying, like, I'm gonna make out with you or something. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, and I was like, all right, this guy JoJo's on a different level. I didn't think too much of it beyond, like, I guess I really didn't think much of it. I had more pause in episode 12 when he tried to infiltrate the base.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, I want to get to that, but yeah, just
we'll get to that. Yeah, but that thing. I didn't have I really didn't have a take on that, I guess.
I guess what I was going to get to with that was just that I wrote for these 2 episodes, I have like a couple different times in my notes, like, and yeah, we can talk about the specific instances, but I had written down like, luckily Joseph exists.
I was going to ask.
In the 30s, because he would get canceled today, like, for sure.
Well, I was also going to ask, like, when was this made? Like, when did this come out? Because they're getting away with some stuff in these episodes that I saw.
Yeah, well, there's a character that we'll get to that. I mean, this was written in the 80s, in the late 80s.
Huh.
So it's got kind of 80s action movie sensibilities.
Okay, I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so and I mean, in 80s action movies there was some.
Yeah, but okay, so when was this
weird stuff?
When was the anime produced though? Like, so
so Phantom Blood I think started airing in 2012. 2012? Yeah, pretty sure.
All right, I just, I worry about us covering this and getting canceled, man. I don't want to get canceled.
Are you really worried? Like, what do you think is like the worst thing that happened?
So far, nothing. I mean, not so well. The worst thing that happened.
We're not gonna get canceled for anything.
All right, you never know.
I don't think there's anything in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that's like
worth getting canceled over.
Well, I don't think there's anything to get canceled over in JoJo. Like, I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything that bad.
All right.
But I mean, if something jumps out to you.
Yeah, but you're also a cis white male, Nathaniel.
What? Unpack that.
Well, I mean, you said not. What would jump out to you? I mean,
You don't think I have a radar for what is cancelable?
I would say that your radar might be a little different than others.
Okay. Well, yeah. Again, if I miss something crazy, I mean, let me know.
All right, folks. Please tweet I
just said that Joseph would get canceled for walking up to crying women and saying
for them
to shut up, or that he'll make out with them. But it's part of his charm.
Yeah, I just figured, like, all right, that's JoJo being JoJo. Like, this is a new brash JoJo, so I didn't think much of it. But then later on, in another episode, I was just like, oh, okay, all right, I didn't know that they were going like that hard. Because I mean, even it wasn't just what JoJo was doing, but what the guards were doing in that episode too.
Yeah.
So I was in that whole scene. It was just like, all right, okay.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I mean, what the fight in the play? So what do you think? So I mean, obviously, Jonathan would never back down from a fight, right?
Right, but
so what is your so I mean,
I don't necessarily I don't necessarily see JoJo running being like him backing down either.
Yeah, I mean in a way it's not, just because he's abandoning the people who might still be in danger, but I mean him trying to stay alive is
he's got the best potential of saving them down the line, so he should remove himself from the situation to make sure that he is safe, so that way he can fight another day.
Yeah,
I'm all for
I
JoJo.
Agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I was very hyped to see Speedwagon alive. Very disgusted to see that woman licking the Uber Nazi's cheek. That was another thing, that disgusted me. So we could talk about that a little.
Right. Yeah. So Straits. Straits survives at the end. Yeah. I mean, we kind of went. Huh?
Nothing. You're saying? He's hanging on by a thread.
Yeah. Well, so their fight on the bridge. I mean, it's not so much of a fight. It's like a brief showdown. So I mean, yeah, it ends with. Would you have liked for Straightso to stick around, or you don't care? You're glad he's gone.
I mean, just because I feel like he had the Haman thing going for him, and he was a vampire. It would have been cool to see what that brought to the table in terms of a villain versus JoJo. But I mean, I don't know what this season has in store, so it seems silly for me to say like, oh, it's stupid for them to have gotten rid of Straightso.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's more in store. There's a bigger villain to be had. So, yeah.
Yeah. Straightso was like, I feel like he, served his purpose in which he basically sets. I mean, he's kind of the one to set Joseph on his quest.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah. I mean, he's essentially the quest giver. If JoJo, to set JoJo on his journey for the season, in a way, like, because you'd think it might be someone like Speedwagon, but Speedwagon
out of commission.
Yeah. So he served his role. He didn't do much in the whole all of the Heartbreakers in that followed Tom Petty. Like, they didn't do much in Phantom Blood, so at least Straightso had something to do.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, he talks about
Speedwagon.
What, Speedwagon? Wait, does he say he's alive?
Yeah.
Does he tell him he's alive?
Yeah. He gives JoJo enough information to let him know that he may have survived and he may be being held captive by Germans.
Right.
Yeah.
And just says Mexico, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just sends him in that general direction.
Oh yeah, did you care much for the like little infographics of like when Straightso was fleeing the coffee shop, when it was like he has 235 kilograms per centimeter?
No, I didn't get
pressure.
And I was like, what the fuck is this about? I didn't understand any of that. I didn't care for it.
Yeah,
does that continue?
Well, in a certain sense, like, I think that, like, I think it's half baked in this iteration. Like, it's just kind of like not that interesting, I think, here. But Araki is a fan of having like a way to understand the power of characters, and
okay.
that'll manifest in a different way in the future. But I think generally speaking, he likes to. Well, that's kind of like a Japanese sensibility too. Like
I've definitely seen that. Yeah, in other anime they do it in My Hero too. But
yeah, there's a lot of like explaining specific numbers and things. But yeah, here I think it's half baked and it doesn't really do anything for me.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah, no, I didn't care for it.
But I was just, yeah. So that was kind of whatever. I liked at the end of the fight on the bridge when he's defeated, or like right before he defeats him, I guess, when he says, "Granny should be able to sleep well tonight."
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm.
Oh, and then what'd you think about the bit of dialogue when he's holding on to Straightso, and Straightso says, "Your grandfather's blood flows through you, both insatiably curious. You appear to be opposites, but he warns that his nature has trapped him in a fate he cannot hope to escape."
So a little ominous. So is that a little for foreshadowing that this JoJo is fated to die a hero's death as well?
I don't know. I mean, you could read it that way if you want.
I think I will, Nathaniel.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I think this is kind of an interesting thing too, just in terms of like, for episode 10, when we were introduced to Joseph and that we skipped a Joestar generation, you were kind of wondering like, what happened to his dad? And there is going to be a little bit more on like that history, but I think it is interesting to speculate on this line of like
his father wasn't a soldier, right?
Yeah, I think his George Joestar his father was a pilot, I think.
Okay.
He was in the military to some extent. I think he was a pilot, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting to speculate to like maybe George just didn't have that like insatiable curiosity,
that fighter's edge either.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting to think about, but yeah, I mean, we will definitely there as the series continues and the Joestar family grows large. I mean, yeah, not every Joestar is gifted with this specific thing that Jonathan and Joseph have.
Now, would it be too much of a spoiler to say whether or not there's a part that follows a Joestar like that?
Like, is there a whole part that's centered around like the main JoJo is one of the unspecial JoJos?
Yeah.
Do you want me to say yes or no?
Don't tell me. I don't know why I even asked.
All right. But yeah, so blah blah. I mean, we basically, I think we touched on. Oh well, yeah. So I guess what's your? I feel like I know what your take might be, but like, what's your initial impression of Major von Stroheim?
It's funny because I actually watched the sub originally when I take notes, and then I watched the dub again just right before we record, just so I can skim through my notes and I don't have to like read as I'm watching. And you were very right when you had warned me against watching the dub of JoJo, because you said some of the accents of the characters dip in and out and it's a little wonky. And now I'm watching the sub and I'm like, all right, this von Stroheim dude, he's like this uber Nazi, he's annoying, he's gonna be the big bad, yada yada yada. And I'm like, okay, he's evil. And then I'm watching the dub and I'm listening to him. I'm like, this guy, he sounds like a clown. He's not menacing, he's not imposing, he just sounds like cannon fodder, which he inevitably turns out to be. But in the sub, there's just like a different vibe to him completely.
Yeah, that's interesting. So like so I don't have, like, I've never watched any. I don't think I've ever watched like a full episode of JoJo dubbed, but I have like peeked in just to hear like certain voices here and there. And I actually don't think I've ever heard the English von Stroheim, but I'll have to check it out now that you say that.
Yeah.
But the reason, because I think I mentioned this like during Phantom Blood or something, but I didn't want to like get too specific. And I'm curious what your thoughts are. But in the dub that I have heard for Battle Tendency, I cannot stand Joseph's voice. Like the weird ass English voice that he puts on.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot deal with it. Like, it's way too much for me. He sounds like just a weird, like, it's too like
Proper.
Yeah, it's too strange. I don't know how to.
I was actually gonna say, yeah, no, when I had popped it on, the first thing you hear is JoJo in the desert, and he's like, thank God Speedwagon is all right. And I don't know, it's just very off.
Yeah, it's just like, that is not what Joseph sounds like in my heart.
And I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen some dubs of like later parts, and I don't think there's anything that egregious, but yeah, the Joseph's voice bothers me. But yeah, so von Stroheim, yeah, not a good guy. I mean,
no, he's a legit Nazi. What is their reluctance with calling them Nazis and they just refer to them as the Germans? I'd be more upset if I were German and I see like Nazi iconography and people are just referring to them as regular Germans. If I were a German anime fan watching JoJo's, I'd be like, no, those aren't Germans, those are fucking Nazis. There's a difference.
I couldn't tell you why that decision was made. I have to like go back and look at the manga and see if it's like if that's was like a adaptation thing or if that existed before. I can't quite remember, but I don't know. I mean,
seems like
I guess
a weird hair to split. I don't know.
I guess they just rely on the fact that like it's World War II and these are German soldiers. But it's kind
okay.
It's kind of weird too because like I think even on their armbands and they say that they're like SS officers.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. The iconography is there, so why not just say Nazis? And they're literally evil.
I don't know.
I don't know why I'm like dying on this hill or anything. Well, we can move on. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer. Yeah, it's weird.
Okay. JoJo he fights some guy, Cactus Jack is what I called him. What was this dude's deal? You got any backstory on him?
Yeah, so like right after he arrives, so we're moving on to episode 12 basically, but yeah, so this dude was named SS Commander Donovan. Looks like I wrote ugly bastard with butt chin.
Yeah. I just kept calling him Cactus Jack.
I wrote German knife guy because this fight is not, it's nothing really.
No, he gets bested by JoJo while JoJo's face down in the dirt, and he fucking hits a cactus bomb in his face.
Yeah, like he oh well wait, I thought this was kind of I wanted to get your take on this line. So when they're first faced with each other, I think like Commander Donovan says something like about like that he's part of some army or something, but doesn't say what.
Mm-hmm.
And Joseph like has some line about like, I can tell by the cut of your face that you're German.
Didn't pick up on that.
You know? Like I don't know. It's just a weird. Does that make like of all the crimes that of all the things that would get him canceled? Like does that make Joseph like a little bit racist? Maybe that he's like judging.
No, because
races?
No, because he's judging a German person, and according to JoJo's, all German people are Nazis, or at least bad, so it's okay.
Well, I mean, they're German soldiers in World War II.
No,
these aren't Germans. They don't say, "Oh, we're German citizens, not involved with anything."
They refer to them as Germans.
Well, I mean, Nazis were Germans,
but not all Nazis. Or wait, not all Germans are Nazis. But they refer to them freely as Germans. Look, man, we're getting lost in the weeds. All I'm saying is JoJo shouldn't be canceled over this. If he should be canceled over anything, it's, the cross-dressing later on.
Well, I mean, do you want to just jump to that?
I mean, what more is there? We can talk about the Pillar Man, but I mean, what?
Well, I want to. What? All right, so we need to clear this air. I don't know how you're gonna feel about this.
Oh boy, here we go.
But well, because you watched the sub, and I don't know what they call it in the sub, but in the dub, but in the sub, we get into another. This is like the first big discrepancy between what an actual character's name is supposed to be and like the weird copyright thing that they're not allowed to do. So Stroheim, once the Pillar Man wakes up, decides to give the Pillar Man a name. And he says, I'm going to name him after the Mexican winds, and gives him some other name when in reality this Pillar Man's name is Santana. and in the sub it's like Santivano or something.
Yeah.
Like, so it's clearly a musical reference to Santana.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's his name's a Santana reference. His name's Santana. Stroheim says Santana in Japanese, but yeah, so that's just one of those weird ones. It harkens back to the great Bluford-Bruford controversy of part 1. But yeah, so that's that. So yeah, they got a bunch of shit going on in the like compound, but then Joseph is trying to sneak in, and yeah, for no reason whatsoever, he dresses. I don't even know where he gets the clothes from, but
before that, like, what was the scene? Why were those Germans making those Latina women, those Mexican women, lift up their dresses?
I mean, did you look at them? They're the most like disgusting
I thought you were about to
people
say something
ever.
Completely different, but yeah, no, yeah, they are.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like upstanding.
Yeah, no, they're German. Like... I saw them.
Yeah, well, they're German soldiers in World War II.
They're German,
but right. But yeah, I mean, they looked. Their design reminded me of like the cop in episode 1.
Oh yeah,
where he's just like
a
like, you know that they're
a gross.
You know, yeah, you know that they're just a piece of shit just by looking at how like ridiculous they are.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, this whole thing is like, this was early on in like Araki's thing. I think like I would bet.
So you're telling me he grew out of this later on?
Yeah, I mean, there's moments of like cheap jokes like throughout JoJo, like being like, oh, this sort of thing is just supposed to be funny, so here's the thing. I think it's effective and not effective in certain places, and this, it's like, I'm not offended by it, but it's just, it's not funny enough to justify the gag. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not offended, it's just not there's nothing funny about it. It's just like why? Yeah, because I mean, like, he didn't even
after beating them up, he takes their clothes. So why not just beat them up initially?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was so ridiculous because like he rolls up.
He's a giant man.
Like the only thing that made it funny to me, I think this the only way that this gag works a little bit is that the Germans are just like,
they don't buy it at all.
Yeah, they don't buy it for even a second. So it's like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But even after that, it's like, it doesn't aid him in any way. Like he doesn't even beat them up. Like he uses 2 wine bottles to release corks to knock down coconuts onto their head. It was just like taking like a huge detour when you could have just gotten straight to the point. So I guess it's a weird kind of...
Tanjiro would never.
Just... Oh, right, Tanjiro.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. But, yeah, so here's another thing. Like, he took both of their clothes off.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't leave one with their clothes on, because when they both wake up, or when one wakes up, he'll just take the other's clothes and run away. Like, you leave them both naked, so they're both embarrassed when they wake up.
Yeah, but this in general, like, feels like, because, you know, we were talking before about, like, 80s action movie kind of, like, tropey things. Like, I feel like it's such a trope of that kind of...
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Genre to like, knock out guards and take their clothes.
Yes, you have to.
You know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that was definitely a, like, hey, this is kind of... And I definitely feel like Battle Tendency is supposed to be like Araki's take somewhat on like Indiana Jones, like globe-trotting kind of 1930. And I feel like that's where the Nazis come in too, you know, because they're like the prominent enemy in Indiana Jones and stuff. So
is there an 80s JoJo?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to that.
Definitely. I won't say when it happens, but
oh man,
yeah.
I'm
I mean,
not gonna have
it's
to
not
read it, am I? It's not like in the manga, right?
No.
Okay, cool.
No.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's all
yeah,
manga,
yeah. But what I mean is, like, it's already been adapted.
It's animated.
All right. Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fall for that bullshit. You're not gonna make me read the thing. I got enough of my.
But yeah, I mean, it's not. I figured that I'm not gonna spoil. I'm not gonna say anything that I didn't know going into. Like, I feel like I can let you know anything that I know, or that I knew when I first watched JoJo.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, there is a part that takes place in the late 80s.
Nice. That's the money era. Oof. All right, so we get the Pillar Man Santana. He's in the fucking vents, man. He contorts his body. He squeezes into little.
What's your?
It was. I was like, what the fuck? He's in the vents. He's in the vents, and it was cool to see all of them freak out. But I don't know if that is like. I mean, it's thinking outside the box because it's not something I would expect from any other show that showcases like vampires or anything. You would expect him to, like, I don't know, teleport or break through something that is impenetrable, or turn into some type of mist, or even telepathically like take over someone's body or something. Or, you know, you would expect all those things. You don't expect them to contort inside of like a vent. They use centimeters as measurements, and I'm a dumb American. So he contorted into like a small opening and then shot through a vent into the body of one of the guards. And that became the next most disgusting thing I had seen since the woman licking the cheek of Stroheim. So yeah, It keeps topping, and I appreciated it. I liked it. I like this big fat guard embodied by Santana.
Yeah.
It looked disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is definitely where I think this is one of the most interesting elements of part 1 and 2 is, you know, in part 1 it's like you see the stone mask and you kind of get that there's this weird Aztec origin to it, but like generally it's like this very classical like 1800s like vampire thing, and that's kind of how this weird ancient Aztec thing manifests itself in that story. And then now that we're in part 2 and we're sort of seeing the real origins of this thing, that it's like, oh, this isn't really vampires really, like it's kind of this weird thing that we've never seen before. It just happened to kind of manifest itself as kind of vampire adjacent.
Okay.
But in reality, it's like this weird ancient lost civilization or something that has like just wild powers that you like. This was like I gnarly. Like you know, there's so many future discussions to be had on like characters and different abilities that characters have, but like I think this was a dangerous period in time for Araki where this a Pillar Man, it's just like they can literally do anything, like anything he wants them to do, but surely he can just make them do it, you know. Like it is kind of weird that there don't seem to be any rules, like no rhyme or reason to what they're capable of, other than they can't go out in the sun.
Yeah, but I'm here for it. I mean, I really don't care. That's what I love my characters being like put up against the weirdest of circumstances, and they have to face it. You know, what the fuck else are they gonna do? Now this man is shooting rounds out of his fingers, like he's shooting like it's machine guns, but it's finger guns. Are you kidding me? That was incredible. I loved it. Good stuff.
Well, that's good to hear because yeah, I mean, there's some wild abilities and situations later on in JoJo that are just a sight to behold.
Oh, I'm all for it, man.
Yeah. But yeah, he's shooting. He's like somehow the bullets are traveling through his body and with enough force to have the force of a gun. So that's good for him, I guess. Yeah, but the big bloated thing. Oh, yeah. How did it take Speedwagon that long to
recognize who JoJo was? But I don't know, JoJo. But I thought it was pretty great that even in that uniform, like JoJo was rocking that Nazi uniform, and he tried to help Speedwagon. He's like, "Hey, man, maybe you should, get out of here. Maybe move off to the side." And Speedwagon was like, "I don't take no fucking help from no goddamn Nazi." He was still with the shits. He was not taking any help from any likes of a German soldier, as you called them. I appreciated that.
Yeah, it was good. But, I just feel like generally, like, if I was seated in a chair looking straight ahead, and you, for example, came up behind me just with a helmet on your head, like just a helmet, like not even a motorcycle helmet, like just a helmet that covered just the dome of your head, and you started speaking to me with your words, I feel like within two or three seconds, I would know that it was you.
But Speedwagon had that head injury. He had those bandages on his head that messes up your equilibrium. Probably wouldn't be able to see very well or hear very well. So you got to take that into account.
That's true, and I appreciate you defending JoJo.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
when these roles should be reversed.
Hey, I'm not here to nitpick, man. I'm here for the ride. I'm enjoying what I've seen so far.
I mean, it's funny. I like it, and I love at the end when or like even after like Joseph like pulls off his helmet. It has that dramatic like he pulls off his whole outfit. And like strikes a pose basically, and is like, "It's me." Even after that, Speedwagon's like, "It can't be that you are my grandson, Joseph Joestar." Like he has this full, like he just can't.
What's the deal with these poses? Because if we can go back to when the Pillar Man Santana was first being introduced, they opened like this box thing, and there was a guy wearing the stone mask who had been transformed into a monster, and he was in like this twerk position. You know what I mean? He was like crouched down. He was like in like, if you could picture an Atlanta stripper, like just ass cheeks just thrusting down in your face. That's exactly what this guy looked like. And then later on, you see JoJo like standing, like he's just standing, and he decides to fold his arms in this way that why? What's up?
I mean,
what is that?
I think I think in the animal kingdom, certain animals like adopt poses to establish something or other. I mean, it's cool.
Okay,
though, right?
Okay. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just. It's a choice. It's a choice, and man, these poses, they are interesting.
The JoJo pose. Oh my god, I can't wait for some of these future things. Like it's so good. Like there's no way to justify it. I don't think. It's just like it's hilarious. Like especially in the manga, like there, especially in later JoJo parts, like literally for every like chapter cover or whatever of like JoJo chapters, like you could like there's just online, if you Google for it, there's like side by side comparisons of like the like Vogue models that Araki just copied, but like has like literally every single like Vogue pose and like high fashion pose that you can find in any magazine. Like Araki just puts JoJo characters in them.
That's great.
And yeah, there's some wild.
So has he spoken about like his obsession with Vogue poses and like why he's drawn to that?
He just has like, I mean, yeah, I think he's talked about it a lot. I don't have any like quotes on hand or anything, but I mean, I can look into it more for like the next episode. But he is just a general like great appreciator of like high fashion, and like he's even done collaborations with Gucci.
Really?
Yeah. He there's actually, I think there's like a one-off of a later JoJo character that it's like well, I don't want to say their name or anything, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's like it's called like this character goes to Gucci or something, and it's like it's like a couple different characters, like JoJo characters, who like meet up and like they're all like decked out in like Gucci clothes and like it was like this collaboration they did together. But yeah, I mean, JoJo has like penetrated the like
fashion world,
the high fashion world, and even like like he's actually had exhibitions shown in the Louvre in Paris. Yeah. So JoJo is a interesting property that's that reaches far beyond just weebs in their bedrooms watching anime.
Damn. All right. Weird flex. Who are you shading right now? What's going on?
No, I'm just saying like how many like anime, like shonen anime series like have like Gucci collaborations and like are hanging up next to the Mona Lisa.
Not many, I imagine, Nathaniel. Not many. I mean, only one so far that I know of. Just JoJo.
You're saying like I'm flexing. I'm just telling you the reality of what happened. I'm not making any statements about it.
No, it doesn't seem like you are.
You asked for this. You asked me to elaborate, and I'm giving you relevant information. What is your issue with this?
There's no issue. No issue whatsoever. I appreciate your information. Thank you. Why do you sound so incredulous?
I'm perplexed that you think I'm like talking down to someone.
What? I'm sorry if that's what you inferred, but that's not what I implied.
Okay, I mean, you said weird flex. But okay, like what is relevant information a weird flex to you?
There's relevant information, and then there's just, verbally masturbating one's accomplishments.
Because I feel like I said there was a Gucci collaboration, and he had an exhibition in the Louvre. That sounds like
if that's all you said, I don't know if we'd be
how could I put that
right here right now.
How could I put that in a more simplistic way?
He's had
some
some accomplishments in the fashion world. You could leave it at that.
Okay,
and let the listener do their own research.
Araki once teamed up with a clothing company. It might be Gap or it might be Gucci. I don't know. It's one of the two. He had artwork in a museum. It was either the Lego Museum or it was the Louvre. I don't know. It was one of the two. I don't remember which one it was. Who cares? It's not relevant information.
Cool.
All right. So do you want to get into like ratings for?
Oh, we're still doing ratings. Well, I mean, how do we even do ratings?
Well, I mean,
the show was completely different before, folks.
Yeah. So basically, we've had a weird thing going so far where like through Phantom Blood, for reasons I don't want to get into, only I was doing ratings for some dumb reason. But we can just like brush that aside and not remember. We can choose not to remember that, and we can just start. We'll fresh. My theory behind it was that at the end of every part or every season or whatever, we could have like a document to look at and be like, I don't know, it's just like some stats about like what our thoughts were. Like at the end of Battle Tendency, we can look back and be like,
how very Millhouse of you. That's the most Millhouse thing you've ever said in the world.
What?
Like that we would have stats and we would go back and I don't know. I never imagined that we would do that.
Well, don't you think it'd be interesting after we get like 5 parts deep or whatever to look back on everything and be like, these were the top, in our opinions, these were the top 3 fights?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would for sure be great. I'm not opposed to that at all. But I'm such a subjective, like, viewer. It's hard to nail that down, man. It's like nailing Jello to the wall with me.
Well, I mean, it's not like we've established it in like a serious way, so I mean, we could
pretty set in stone.
We could just not do it. I won't fight.
I don't know. The fans are pretty hyped about it already. Getting a lot of people writing in about it. They seem excited.
Okay. Well, I'll leave it to you to make the executive decision.
Oh, brother, that is the last thing we need is me making any more decisions.
Okay, well, we could just end the show.
Also a possibility. Fans, write in.
Wait, have you all right, let's just not. I feel like the ratings, it's going to be too much of a thing.
Okay, no ratings right now.
It sounds,
we'll deal with it later.
Okay.
You were saying, have I what?
Well, so have you watched ahead at all?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay.
Stopped.
Okay, cool. So I thought maybe, and this doesn't need to be like too specific or anything, and we hadn't talked about this beforehand, but since you are coming into JoJo fresh, I'm just curious if like at the end of every episode of ours, if you want to just kind of throw out some sort of like prediction, like where it doesn't need to be specific, like, oh, next episode this is going to happen, but where do you like, do you see like any big things coming, like new types of characters or situation? Like, I don't know, it can be anything. I'm just curious if you have anything you want to throw out there.
I mean, it's kind of hard to do so only because there's not much for me to base it off of, only Phantom Blood, you know? So, I mean, maybe this JoJo is going to get a couple, like, I don't know, will he get a Haman Master to, like, hone his skills? Possibly, but would that be retreading too much on Baron Zeppeli? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that formulaic, and I have to imagine it's not going to be, because that seems to be a sticking point for you, is like a formulaic type thing, you know? So yeah.
I mean, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure definitely has like established formulas. I just think that for my taste, I think maybe it handles these like clear formulas in interesting ways, and it's kind of like formulas that Araki has created for himself that maybe I don't know, whatever.
So does every JoJo have a crew?
Yeah, I mean, like things like that could be like a JoJo formula. Like there's typically, like there's never like a lone JoJo really.
Well, that's good, because I always appreciate a good crew. So
yeah, I mean, there are certain parts where there are like 2-man crews, and then there are certain parts where there are like 6 or 7-man crews.
I fucks with a good 2-man crew. I'm heavy on that.
Okay.
What?
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's something I said earlier where whatever, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Part 7, best part. All right. You like 2-man crews. Okay, cool.
What? Wait, does part 7 have a 2-man crew?
I was just remembering that I said that, and I just wanted to reiterate part 7, best part. And you like 2-man crews, so. But whatever. You don't want to read. You don't want to read. You don't want to read part 7, so that's fine.
I'm just saying, man. It'd be cool if I could get some confirmation on that one little tidbit.
What?
Part 7 2-man crew?
Like you want to know if part 7 has a 2-man crew or not?
It'd be really great.
If I tell you,
if I could get that confirmation.
All right. If I tell you that part 7 has a 2-man crew, will that raise the chance of you reading it or not? Because if it's not going to change,
absolutely not.
I'm not going to tell you.
I mean, this is something I could easily Google, but I'd rather you let me know.
Yes, it's got a goddamn 2-man crew.
Nice.
The fucking friends of the friends of a goddamn lifetime.
God, that makes me so happy.
Well,
you.
It might get animated one day in like 2028 or something. So
we'll still be buds, so you'll let me know. I'm sure of it.
I think it's mostly confirmed that they are going to animate part 6. So it's good news. I think.
How many months does it take to animate? Like 3 months.
3 plus some more, probably.
Well, like COVID, they should already be done with part 6, right?
I don't know. Well, like 3 months to animate like one scene or like an entire season.
Like a couple parts for it.
Oh, a couple parts.
Yeah, I'm being facetious, of course. I know it takes quite some time.
So I think that between part 4 and part 5 was like a couple years.
Wow.
But it seems like maybe between part 5 and part 6 is going to be less than that. But yeah, with COVID, I don't know if that's like fucked things up or not. But
so I mean, I don't really have any big predictions other than, of course, the next couple episodes. I feel like he's going to be establishing his crew as he goes along. I don't think he's going to have any huge fights with the Pillar Men just yet. I mean, I think he established that little barrier, and then they're going to like hightail it the fuck out of there.
Yeah. I think I think maybe what might be more interesting is like at the end of every part to maybe throw out some predictions of like what you think the next part's going to be all about.
Okay.
You know, like in terms of like time, because there's things to guess, like time period, setting, like what the JoJo might be like the next line.
And do they ever like foreshadow during the current season?
Yeah, so we're actually going to like, if we want to do that for like you guessing part 3, we're gonna have to do it before this part 2 finale. Like we'll have to do it like the episode before.
When the hell is the part 2 finale?
Well, like it's the end of the season.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because it's, well, whatever. I don't want to get into it, but yeah, if you want to make that prediction, we'd have to do it towards the end, but before it ends.
All right.
Well, I think we covered those 3 episodes.
Yeah, dude, I would say so, and then some.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we have a Twitter yet, and we don't have an email. So,
and we never will.
If you
for the email,
if you have. You know, I guess thanks to anyone who's watched. It seems like a few people. Have you been like just playing the episodes on repeat on your phone?
No, I haven't.
Okay, then someone has listened to the first 3 episodes. We've gotten a few listeners, it seems like.
Wow. Thank you to whoever did that. And I haven't promoted this at all because I've been waiting until we were like recording for real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
No disrespect to those first few episodes. It's just I wanted... Yeah, I barely remember what I said back then.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. And I guess that's sort of my... I mean, you were laughing at me earlier when I was sort of like really reiterating the same thing. It's just I'm self-conscious about...
I hear you.
In a way about just... I want to make sure everyone knows like that it's been a weird situation, but... Luckily, we've caught up now, and everything moving forward is going to be back on, you know, it's like a regular thing. And then normal
until the next pandemic hits. Or, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, thanks for listening, and you got anything else to say?
No. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.